Welcome to sunny Surprise, Arizona, where temperatures are in the 80s. It's spring training baseball for the Kansas City Royals. Well, let's take a look at Kauffman Stadium today. The snow, the ice, it was bitter there, and we hope to warm your hearts in Surprise, Arizona, because the Royals are playing good baseball. And tonight, they take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Physiak. This is Rex Hudler, and what an offseason it has been for Kansas City, and they've transferred it right into spring training. They are 21-6-1, the best record in baseball, and it surrounds that revamped starting rotation.
That's right, Fizz. That's the key to victory. And last year on the last game of the season, Royals owner Mr. Glass came into the broadcast booth and said he's going to supply Dayton with everything he needs to complement those young position players, and look what he did. By the time the new year even turned over, we had 4 new starters, including re-signing Jeremy Guthrie. Shields, Santana, Davis all have postseason experience. That's where the Royals want to go. And Guthrie, he's no slouch. 4 new starters. The optimism's running wild in Kansas City.
And, of course, the offense has been fantastic this spring, led by the American League's designated hitter of the year, Billy Butler. He will lead Kansas City against the Dodgers tonight. Royals baseball is brought to you by your Kansas City Chevy dealer, the official vehicle of the Kansas City Royals. These are the scenes of a laid-back atmosphere of spring training baseball. The very versatile utility man of the Royals, Elliot Johnson, will be running our camera tonight. And Donnie Baseball for the Los Angeles Dodgers, their manager, Don Mattingly. He's signing autographs as his team gets ready to take on the hottest team in the Cactus League, The Kansas City Royals at 21-6-1. And look at Mattingly's lineup. Carl Crawford, then Schumacher, and Matt Kemp, who's coming off an injury last year, but a dynamic player. Adrian Gonzalez, acquired in a trade with Boston in midseason last year. Then Ethier, Cruz, Hairston, Ellis, and Zach Greinke, the former Royal, will pitch against his old team. And on the hill, big, tall Wade Davis, one of the new acquisitions, Rex.
Yes, and you know, what a great opportunity for him. You know, it's put away in the bullpen for the Rays, his former team. You know, wasn't really given a good opportunity because they were so strong starting pitching. Now he gets his chance with the Royals. He's in that rotation, and man, is he excited.
3 wins, no losses this spring, and you can see the number of walks. Most of those came in his last game, when in the final innings that he threw, he got a little bit wild. And that was something that he did not show last year coming out of the bullpen.
Well, you know, Fizz, as long as this spring has been this year with the WBC, you know, and the players getting, you know, probably a week, maybe 2 extra weeks of spring training, where some would tell you it's long anyway. Look, these last few starts, these guys are sometimes just going out there and pushing the buttons because they can't wait till the bell rings. And Wade Davis, he's another guy who's going to pound the strike zone with sinkers, slider, the big curve. He's got a changeup, but mainly sinkers. That's his bread and butter.
And here is a fastball that is lined to left field for a base hit. Carl Crawford coming off of that elbow injury. He had Tommy John surgery. As we take a look at our Ford around the horn defense, and these are guys who could win the Gold Glove in the future. Perez, Hosmer, then Alcides Escobar, dynamic shortstop. Chris Getz won the battle at second base. Moustakas at third. Gordon, Kane, and Francoeur left to right. Alex winning back-to-back Gold Gloves in 2011 and again last year.
Well, that's a good-looking defense. And with the starting staff, a lot of them throwing sinkers, James Shields included with Davis. Look, you're going to use that defense, and believe me, pitching and defense go hand in hand. Royals fans know that formula.
Carl Crawford, always a threat to go. He has stolen as many as 59 bases in a season in his career, most of those with the Tampa Bay Rays, and then, of course, acquired by the Boston Red Sox and now traded to Los Angeles. He had some down years with Boston, but this is a dynamic athlete at first base.
Well, if you use that word dynamic, and I try to stay away from those big words, Fizz, you know, that guy right there is the total package, Salvador Perez. That guy hopefully stays healthy the whole season. Let's see what he can do, and won't it be fun to watch? He's passionate, he's got a lot of energy, and he's got skills.
It was the first 2 weeks of spring training last year where Salvador Perez went down with a knee injury and was gone for the first 3 months of the season. Wasn't activated until late June, and then in his first game threw a runner out and also belted a home run. He might be the heart and soul of the team. That's what his skipper Ned Yost says. Schumacher with a smash up the middle, but Escobar turns it into a 6-4 play. Schumacher too quick to first base.
Escobar, he gets that out of his glove cleanly. That's an easy, nice double play. Actually, it looks like it's tough, but that's routine for these guys. Escobar couldn't find the handle. Gets him with the bare hand. The feed was in back of the bag. Nice turn, though, and a correct call over there at first base by first base umpire Mike Molcheski. How about Schumacher in Dodger blue? He wore that Cardinal red for a long time.
Many, many years, and he's expected to back up in the outfield and the infield this year in Los Angeles. Here is Matt Kemp, 28 years old, out of Midwest City, Oklahoma.
Well, you know, these two colors that these teams have, Dodger blue and Royal blue, they have a lot of little similarities except for the pants tonight, man. It'd be hard to tell who's who, hardly. But you know who this guy is. And Donnie Mattingly, he's hoping that he's the Kemp of a couple of years ago.
And there's that Wade Davis four-seam fastball up and in. Wade Davis last year was a reliever for the Tampa Bay Rays and had a 2.4 earned run average. The thing that he said he learned the most, Rex, as a reliever going from the starting rotation to the bullpen was to be more aggressive.
Okay, and the previous pitch before that little slider there was a purpose pitch inside, backed him up a little bit, and we're going to see a lot of that from this young man Davis here. He's not afraid. It's really nice to see a guy that understands the art of pitching, and that is not giving in to hitters. Knock them off the plate, and then sets up that nice little slider on the outside.
He was acquired with James Shields in the trade that sent minor leaguers Will Myers, Jake Odorizzi, Mike Montgomery to the Rays. The ball clipping off the glove of Eric Hosmer. Good to see Eric back in there. The Royals had Eric suffering a little leg injury. Had it been the regular season, he would have been in the lineup. But what they did was they sent Eric down to minor league camp where he could bat every single inning. You know, the fastball in.
That's fun. When you originally ask a hitter, a big league everyday hitter, to go to the minor leagues and get some at-bats, you don't really know what to expect. But here's what you do. You take an at-bat on the A-ball field. All four fields are right there together. And then after he takes that at-bat, he goes over to the other field and gets right in the batter's box, hits live pitching, and he goes to the other field. So you're getting your at-bats. You might get 4 at-bats in less than 15 minutes.
And that is exactly what Hosmer did yesterday.
And that's
he got
great.
like 8 at-bats. And sometimes guys need more ABs before the regular season so they can hit game 1 in stride. Tim Salmon was a player like that. There's a fastball struck up the middle. Escobar has it. They get 1 and they get 2 this time. We'll see Kansas City batting, and that means Escobar hitting second in the lineup when we come back.
Back to Surprise Stadium, Joel Goldberg in the Royals dugout. A lot of good baseball this team has played throughout spring training, and of course it feels like they've been here forever with the World Baseball Classic. They began back in the middle of February, and you know, one thing that I think all of us, Fizz and Rex included, have noticed is this is a very hard-working group, but also a unit with some veteran leadership now that likes to have a little fun. James Shields and Jeremy Guthrie the other day, 6 in the morning, were out with parking vests directing traffic as the players came into the parking lot. A lot of fun things like that, golf outings and tight-knit, and you got to be on your game with the humor, as they had an exploding golf ball with Miguel Tejada on the golf outing. So a lot of fun for this group. They are ready to get going, and I think Alex Gordon summed it up best, saying, in the past, we hoped we could win. Now we believe we can.
And they have won this spring the most wins of any team in baseball with 21, and facing an old teammate in Zach Greinke, 6'2" right-hander. This is his first start since March 1st. And Gordon rips it towards right field. It's a base hit. Alex continues his hot hitting. He started this game hitting .407 with 5 home runs. Let's check out the rest of the Kansas City lineup with Escobar to follow Alex Gordon. Then in the 3 spot, it will be Billy Butler, followed by Moustakas cleaning up. And Perez, Hosmer, Kane, Francoeur, and Chris Getz. Interesting with Butler moving from 4 to 3.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a decision that Ned has made just recently, and as this last week progresses, we'll see a few more cuts and decisions that are made. A lot of those are tough, but really for Billy, He loves it. He's hitting in every first inning. He likes that.
They really want to be able to get protection for their best hitter. Escobar will be speed in front of Billy Butler, which means he might see more fastballs.
That's right. And you know, what's different about this year compared to last is that last year, when they lost so many games, they had a 12-game losing streak. Ned kept juggling the lineup because he's trying to find the right combination that works for a win. And all the wins that have happened this year has been a good thing for confidence for this young team. And hopefully he'll be able to stick with this lineup for at least a few weeks.
As you can see, it's only the third start for Zach. Greinke pitched 4 innings in a minor league game on Tuesday. He has not pitched in a Cactus League game since March 1st because of elbow tenderness, and he also had the flu. He has 2 more scheduled starts to get ready for the season, and they'd like to see him make his first regular season start April 5th against Pittsburgh. Some of the Dodgers brass that we talked to said that Zach has really looked good in 2 side sessions.
And you know, leaving the hotel this morning, I was telling a few fans, hey, look, Zach Greinke's pitching today. And they went, what? We thought he was going to be on the DL to open the season. I said, Dodgers are bringing him, and he's going to try to just throw some fastballs and work on getting his arm in shape.
Well, here's what the Dodgers did. They gave Zach platelet-rich plasma injections and medication for inflammation in the back of his elbow. And he's a guy who's so bright, he can spell platelet-rich plasma injections.
And you can say it better you than me.
There's a base hit to left field, and the first two Royals reach. Gordon moves to second with Escobar at first, and this is the situation they'd love to have with Billy Butler hitting third. 2 guys with speed in front of him. Let's take a look at that Dodgers defense. Kemp in center field is outstanding. Carl Crawford in left and Ethier in right. A.J. Ellis will catch Zach Greinke. Gonzalez, Schumacher, Cruz, and Hairston go around that diamond. One notable absence, and that is Hanley Ramirez, Rex, their shortstop, injured in the WBC, and he could miss a third of the season.
Yeah, you know, it's unfortunate, but during that once every 4 years tournament that they have, there's going to be some injuries. Fortunately, there wasn't a whole lot of them this year. Now, Greinke is going to have a little conversation with his starting pitcher.
Nobody knows Billy better than Zach.
Yeah, A.J. Ellis. But here's the deal. Zach Greinke could care less if Billy hits a 3-run home run because the numbers don't count in spring training. Greinke's got the team made. He's not worried about that. He's trying to get himself into shape, so he gave a fastball right there.
And Billy lines it to center field. That's the first out of the bottom half of the first inning.
That's the thing, Fizz, that I learned as a player. I would face John Smoltz and Maddox, all those guys over there on the east coast of Florida, and they would throw me fastballs, and I would get hits off of them. And the season came along, and I faced them. I'm all confident getting the batter's box. Next thing you know, I saw breaking balls and changeups that I never saw because they don't want to show it to you.
Well, this guy has been seeing some breaking balls and changeups, and he's been delivering, and that's why Ned Yost moved Mike Moustakas to the 4 spot. He has really looked strong this spring.
Well, you know, that's a testimony to Moose's work habits. He worked hard in the offseason. He trimmed up. He got stronger, and he's shown that he can start the season in the number 4 hole. That doesn't mean it's going to last all year. We hope so, but Moose has the pop and has the protection to do that. If he can get a hold of a few fastballs and get off to a good start, that'll help him in the confidence department.
He hit 20 home runs last year, and he whistles this one foul. But they want someone to protect Billy Butler. And Moose can do that, hitting from the 4 spot. Outstanding talent coming out of high school, an All-American in Southern California, first-round pick of the Royals. Pops it up left side. Third baseman Hairston drifts out. He'll make the catch, and 2 outs. So Zach has bounced back after giving up base hits to Gordon and Escobar, getting Butler to line out and Moose to pop up.
So looking at some of these young Royals players, they've changed a little bit. I mean, you know, in spring training, you're going to be a little bit stronger, a little heavier, because the whole 162 grind of the season is going to lean you up and put you in baseball shape. But Moose looks strong. Moose really looks like he put on some good, solid muscle, and you could tell by looking at his lower body and his shoulders. I hugged him today, and he nearly choked me out.
Well, here's a guy who came prepared, had a fantastic winter season with Venezuela, and then was on the WBC team as one of their catchers along with Miguel Montero, although Venezuela made an early and unexpected exit. Salvador hits it high and deep, right center field. Racing back is Kemp. He won't get there. Gordon will score, so too will Escobar, and it's 2-0 Kansas City on a Perez double.
Boy, he really was patient. He waited nicely on that breaking ball. Greinke tried to put a little wrinkle on a pitch here and took a little bit off. You can see the little wrinkle, had a breaking ball, but right over the middle of the plate. Salvador Perez goes to the opposite field with ease, put it right where they weren't. Get used to that, folks. We talked about the fact that Moose is protecting Billy Butler. How about Salvador Perez backing up Moose? They've got some legitimate power in there now.
And now you've got a left-hander following the right-hander.
I like the fact that Ned's putting Hosmer down there at least to start the season in that 6th hole. It takes a little pressure off of him, you know, coming off of that year he had last year where he underachieved. He's going to take some pressure off him, and look, he's responded so far with a decent spring.
378 average and a couple of home runs, and he rips this one towards right, but the line drive will stay up for the right fielder, Andre Ethier. Let's take a look at some of the sights and sounds of spring training.
To the Royals dugout, Joel Goldberg here with Elliot Johnson, and we have already seen Elliot, one of the newest Royals. Well, not really on camera, behind camera. You got, I mean, you're a utility man. You got camera skills.
I have 0 camera skills, but from what I've been told, I actually got one of my shots actually made some of the pre-game highlight reel, if there is such a thing.
Yeah, no, it's just because you're who you are and having fun. But tell me about how camp has been for you. You're first with the Royals.
Camp's been great. You know, I mean, it starts with what we've been doing on the field. You know, I mean, obviously things that go on in here are a little bit more relaxed when you're playing as well as we have. When you're winning games, everybody's a little bit more loose. So obviously, with what we've been able to accomplish out there, with all the hits that we've been getting, it gets a little bit more laid back in here.
All right, 3 of you came over in that deal that involved Will Myers, and we just saw the fly out to center right there with your former and again current teammate Wade Davis. Let's talk about him first. What are Royals fans going to see from Wade Davis this year?
You're going to see a bulldog. Loves to compete, loves to have the ball in his hand, and doesn't think anybody can hit him. Doesn't matter who's standing in the box. He feels like if he makes his pitch, he's going to get him out. And it's not a fake thing. I mean, it's authentic. You see it in his face. You see it with the way he pitches. I mean, he's going right after guys, and it's great to play behind him.
Well, and just a few pitches there and a couple of quick outs. So before we let you go, how about James Shields? We know all about him, and serious on the field, but having a lot of fun, bringing a great atmosphere off it too.
No doubt about it. Yeah, I mean, obviously with what he's brought to the team, and and obviously what we feel like he's going to bring to this team. I mean, the comfort that comes with that. Obviously, you're allowed to get away with a little bit more, and obviously he takes it to different levels, things that they're not used to seeing. With him and Guthrie were directing traffic. We had some things going on in the parking lot that he wanted to clear up, so he had a good time with it, put on a nice reflector, and directed traffic for the day.
Sounds like some minor leaguers might have been taking some premium spots. I'm just guessing on that one. Final thing, how much for you and your role as a utility guy, how comfortable are you with that?
I love it. Yeah, I've been doing it and for a few years now, and I embrace it. I'm happy to do go wherever they want me to go, and if they want me to do pinch run, pinch hit, pinch whatever, I'm here to do it.
Well, officially, congratulations to Kansas City, and we're looking forward to getting it going for real next week.
All right, thanks, Joel.
All right, that is Elliot Johnson. Going to see a lot of him. I'm signing him up for the pregame show once or twice a week. I think it'll work out pretty well. Fizz?
Absolutely, Joel. And there's a guy, Rex. They don't have an award for it, but he might win the most valuable player to be named later award, because the Royals got him as the player to be named later, and he has been outstanding in camp. He's played every single infield position and 2 outfield positions, and he's played them all well.
When did they make that announcement? Like 2-3 weeks before spring training?
Yes.
I mean, I was shocked when I heard he was the guy to be named. You would think it'd be a young minor league, unproven prospect.
Luis Cruz comes up with a base hit.
Joe Madden gave us an athlete. And you win with athletes, and he's got 4 years of experience. You got to love a guy that has the experience, and they say, and I can't wait to watch him play, he's got speed, and he can play the positions, he's got great range, good throwing arm. Can't wait. That's how you win. You're only as good as your 23rd, 24th, and 25th guys on your team.
He is from the state of Arizona. 4-hour drive, he told me. Thatcher, Arizona, population 4,000, an old mining town where he was the superstar athlete in football, in basketball, in baseball. He has a 40-inch vertical lead.
Come on.
Elliott's a premier athlete. And he has skills behind the camera. Good breaking ball thrown by Wade Davis. Our home plate umpire is Anthony Johnson. Jerry Hairston Jr. now in his 14th big league season.
I like Elliot Johnson's speaking ability, and what he said spoke volumes about his pitcher there. Wade Davis, he's a horse. Likes to compete.
Royals lead 2-0.
suffer if we lost Sal again. So hopefully we keep our fingers crossed, and he'll be in good shape all year long.
Thank you.
You got it.
Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler, Joe Goldberg with you in Surprise, Arizona. The Royals leading 2-0 on a Salvador Perez double that scored Gordon and Escobar in the first inning. Now in the second inning, Lorenzo Cain will lead things off. Zach Greinke gave up 2 runs in the first inning, his first Cactus League start since March 1st because of the elbow problems. But he is expected to be part of a very strong rotation led by Clayton Kershaw, along with Greinke, Beckett, Billingsley, and Hyun-Jin Ryu. Fastball barely misses outside.
Let's not forget Capuano and Harang and Lilly. They've got some extra arms in case something happens. And their bullpen with Brandon League and Jansen. They've got some pretty good arms. And believe me, there's a high expectation in Los Angeles for this team.
Well, they spent a ton of money, $600 million in salary taken in last year. Now they have the highest payroll in Major League history at $230 million. And there's a ground ball up the middle, backhanded by their second baseman, Schumacher, who throws it away. And Cain will be safe at first base. Ned, what has pleased you the most about spring training with your team?
Everything, absolutely everything. Our starting pitching has been, a lot of fun to watch. Our bullpen guys have gotten themselves in shape really, really nicely and are coming out of the pen throwing the ball extremely well. Our defense, our offense has been very, very productive all spring long. We've been scoring a bunch of runs, and I'm happy with all phases of our spring training.
Ned, what will it be like to have a healthy Salvador Perez?
Well, it's going to be extremely important. That hurt bad last year when Salvi went down in spring training. I mean, he's, the leader behind that plate in the infield. He has such a rapport with all of our pitchers and has worked real hard to gain a rapport with our starting pitchers this year. So he's a very, very important part of our team, and it would probably be one of the biggest blows that we could suffer if we lost Sal again. So hopefully we keep our fingers crossed, and he'll be in good shape all year long.
Thank you.
You got it.
That is Royals manager Ned Yost enjoying this 21-6-1 spring training. And one of the big question marks when this spring training began was who would win the second base job. There was a battle between Johnny Giavotella and Chris Getz, and the veteran won out.
Yeah, and you know what? I had a sneaking suspicion that was going to be the way it was, because Chris Getz has leadership skills on the field. He's got very solid defensive player. He's polished. If he can stay healthy, you're going to see some good numbers from him. From an offensive standpoint, he's stronger. He's got a little more pop in his bat this year, but he leads on defense.
And he's able to eliminate the double play right there, and it looked like it was going to be a routine 6-4-3.
He's got speed. Okay, speed kills, and you need speed in this lineup. And Royals have it. A track meet could break out at any point if Ned lets these guys run this year. Getz has that. He's got the speed, and he's a good player for him. He's a nice player, and he's earned it. He had some what he called freak injuries last year. I mentioned the fact that he had trouble staying healthy, and he goes, "Hud, I had freak injuries." You've had them too, didn't you? I go, "I did."
That last one came on a bunt opportunity where he fractured a thumb.
That was a freak injury.
Yes, it was. And here is Alex Gordon, and Gordon fouls the first offering back from Zach Greinke. But the Royals have done a lot of this, Rex, this year. The hustle play by Getz, eliminating the double play, and that usually this spring has been followed by a fly ball deep enough to get a runner home or an infield hit, and with a runner with Cain's speed at third base, could quickly be Kansas City by 3.
You know, I really believe, as hard as this guy works, Gordon, to be the best left fielder in the American League, and maybe in baseball, that offensively, in that leadoff spot this year, he might just come into his zone. He works hard all the time. He's the first guy at the ballpark working in the cage. He's a dedicated pro. To me, he's their unofficial captain with his work ethic. And he has a chance, in my opinion, to have an MVP type season if the Royals go ahead and do their thing and stay healthy and they perform and they contend. And Alex Gordon stays healthy and he goes off in that leadoff spot, he could be an MVP candidate. That's the kind of ceiling I think he's got. As hard as he works, he's got power. He had 14 homers last year. He's had as many as 23, and he had that in the 11th season. Okay, 23. I think he's got 25 to possibly 30 home run power, but they don't want that in the leadoff spot. They want him to get on base. They want him to draw some walks and hit his doubles like he can.
He had 51 doubles last year, 3 shy of a Royals record. And he takes a strike right down the middle.
And you know, one of the reasons they're hitting Zach so well in this game is what I said earlier. He's out there just throwing fastballs, and he's trying to get himself in shape. He's missed some time because of his elbow. So, look, this is not the Zach Greinke Dodger fans are going to see when the bell rings and he gets his opportunity.
He went 15-5 last year, splitting time between Milwaukee and the Angels. Had a 9-3 record with the Brewers and 6-2 with the Angels, although they fell short of winning an American League West title. Now the batter Escobar. And Rex, you also talked to me a lot about lineups, how managers put together lineups, and with this one you have Speed and Getz at the 9 spot rolling over, being protected by Alex Gordon, with Speed following an Escobar.
It's important. It's like having another leadoff batter. I mean, a guy with speed that can do things. And you know, that guy right there, he's not slow. Lorenzo Cain, he can flat move. And we talked to Ned about a healthy Salvador Perez. What will it be like to have a healthy Lorenzo Cain the whole season? He's got a lot of talent.
He came with Alcides Escobar in the Zach Greinke deal a couple of years ago, with Greinke going to Milwaukee and the Royals getting not only a shortstop in Escobar, a center fielder in Cain, but they also picked up Jake Odorizzi, who then they dealt to pick up James Shields and Wade Davis. Again, a breaking ball struck foul.
You know, Escobar, wow. You know, he last year thrived in the number 2 hole because he can do the little things. He can bunt. He can move runners. He hits to the right side. Hopefully we see Ned put that hit and run on a lot more than we did last year, because you have a guy who can do it. You only can run your machine with who has the skills to run it. If you don't have a good number 2 hitter, you can't hit and run, but they got one there in Escobar.
Escobar flies out. The Royals get a couple of hits, but do not score. Move to the 3rd. Wade Davis with 2 shutout innings and ERA right at 1. And Wade Davis will face the Los Angeles Dodgers here in inning number 3. He'll face A.J. Ellis. And the gentleman who was able to acquire Wade Davis from Tampa Bay is Dayton Moore, the general manager of the Royals. And it is an overused term, chemistry. But Rex and I have really observed camp, and the chemistry is outstanding. Can you talk about that?
Well, we've always felt that the chemistry was going to be very, very strong. And, last year, the group of players we have, that existed. But, when you're winning games, it's a lot more fun to come to the ballpark as well. And I think when we made the deals that we made this off season, it really injected a lot of life into our team and our players, and that came to spring training with great enthusiasm and expectations, and so we feel good about where we are. Certainly we want to get through spring training healthy here the next few days and get going, but we're proud of what we've accomplished thus far.
When you take a look at a guy like Wade Davis, obviously the blue chip was James Shields. But when I was observing it, because I had a chance to watch Davis as a starter the year before and then as a bullpen guy, and I thought, oh my gosh, this guy's 6'5", 240. And Dayton, you saw the same thing.
Yeah, well, we tried to acquire him in the past, and just didn't work out. And last year he transitioned to the bullpen. I think he learned a lot about himself as a pitcher, and only, I think, 73 innings last year, so we're going to have to temper, how many innings he goes in 2013. I mean, we expect him to pitch, 170 to 200 in that range, but we'll take it, step by step. But, we've liked where he is. He had a little lat issue early on in camp, very benign and not an issue at all. We backed him off a little bit, and his outings have been pretty good since then.
Speaking about the trade, how did you chalk Joe Madden into getting Elliott Johnson? Come on now, 2 or 3 weeks before camp, I'm expecting a little.
You like guys like that, don't you?
Oh man, you're only as good as your 24th and 25th guy.
Yeah.
And when you get veterans that have skills like him, he's an athlete. How did you acquire this guy? How'd you get him to give him up?
Obviously, James Shields became available, and there's 29 other clubs in baseball that were trying to acquire him, and we began to discuss that deal, and as they asked for other players, we began to expand it, and our scouts always liked Elliott Johnson's versatility, and we felt we needed a player like that on this baseball team. Again, it goes back to pitching, defense, and speed, and Elliott fits into to that mold, and he's a player that brings a lot of energy. He's enthusiastic, and as you know, you've got to have guys like that on your team, in your clubhouse, over 162 games.
Last year, your starting rotation only threw 890 innings, and you said your goal with this rotation is 1,000. Why is that important?
Well, I think it's always been a goal of ours, Steve, just to get 1,000 innings out of our rotation. And when you're doing that, obviously you're pitching into the 7th inning most nights, and giving your bullpen a chance to match up, and your manager a chance to match up much better the last third of the game. And so it's always been a goal of ours. You set the tone with starting pitching. It puts the game in rhythm and tempo. It allows your defense to get in on a roll, and it allows your players to get off the field and begin to focus on offense. And hopefully, it'll all work together. And but it begins with starting pitching.
Last 2 games of last season, you came in the broadcast booth. Mr. Glass came in the broadcast booth. We talked about what the needs were for this coming season, and Mr. Glass said he's going to supply you with everything you need to get a starting staff in here. Now, a lot of people, I drove to the airport the next day, listening to the talk radio there in Kansas City, and they're passionate people there. Well, it was great to hear from Mr. Glass. I wonder if they'll actually do it. A lot of that stuff going on is a little skeptical. And before the new year turned, he kept his word. 4 starters, not 1 or 2. He got 4. Shocked the house. Everyone's excited, Dayton. And it's rubbed off into the spring training now.
Well, it has. Mr. Glass is one of the best baseball men I've ever been around. He owns a team for all the right reasons, and he's a great historian of the game. He's a wonderful man to work for. He wants to bring a winner here to Kansas City. He's given us everything that we've needed to build a farm system. He's always told us from day one, do whatever you have to do to build this team. Obviously, our market is what it is. We don't make excuses for it, but he's always allowed us to do what we've needed to put the pieces together. And, that began last year with Jeremy Guthrie. I mean, we made a deal to bring Jeremy Guthrie here. We added payroll. at a point in time in the season when we were losing games. It was very clear we weren't going anywhere. We developed a relationship. Jeremy, rattled off, 14 very good starts in a row for us. We developed that relationship, which put it in motion for us to sign him long term. Then, of course, we made the deal for Irving Santana, and knowing that he was somebody that helped our rotation, been a part of winning championship teams in the past, always been an innings eater. We tracked him in August and September of 2012, performed very well. Again, he upgraded our rotation, and then, of course, we made the final deal there a few days after the winter meetings to get James Shields, Wade Davis, and L.A. Johnson.
Wow. And here is Wade Davis with 2 outs. Trying to keep the Dodgers offense quiet. And Dayton, one of the things Jerry McGuthrie told me when I was doing a hot stove report with him this week, he said, you have no idea the confidence I have when I turn around and I look, and there's Hosmer, there's Getz, there's Escobar, there's Muth, and we got a brilliant outfield. He goes, that gives all of our starting pitchers confidence. We saw an example of that with Hosmer digging out a low throw from Moustakas right now.
Right. Well, there's no question about it. I mean, it gives pitchers much more confidence to throw strikes, challenge hitters, especially early in the game, and again, it puts the game in rhythm and tempo, and you've got to be able to do that. But it's a lot of comfort, as you know, for any pitcher to have throw a guy like Salvador Perez, and then have. Really, in my mind, we've got at least 4, 5 guys on this team, maybe 6, that can win a Gold Glove, and 4 of them were in the balloting last year. Escobar and Perez, perhaps as good as defenders there are at their position, weren't even finalists. So we think that the defense is going to be very strong.
I talked to Eric Ibar, the shortstop for the Angels, in the offseason. I saw him, and I said, hey, Eric, that one Gold Glove you won, hope you enjoyed it, because our guy Escobar is going to get it. And he agreed. He goes, that guy's awesome, man. He's got a great throwing arm. He runs. He can throw. I mean, it's fun to watch him pick it.
Well, it's a goal of Esky's. I mean, he wants to earn that. He wants to earn that hardware, and it's not something he talks a lot about publicly, but he's motivated to set himself apart and be that special shortstop offensively and defensively.
Now, last year when Fizz and I joined up with the Royals, very excited, great opportunity for us, and we sat down with you at length during the wintertime, and you talked about 2014. Really, you think of being ready to compete, contend, maybe win it all? You weren't being honest with us. It's 13, and we got a team that has a chance. We're in the game.
But you never know what players are going to become available to you. So it's very hard to predict what deals you're going to be able to make and what players, who you're going to be able to acquire. And, I've always operated, with a very, very clear vision with what we're trying to do here. And when we came here in June of 06, our first draft was 07. Our people have done a tremendous job in building the farm system. We've known from day one we're going to have to grow players from within. And it's an 8 to 10 year process from where we were to get to where you need to be, because it's 3 to 4 years to get a high school player from the draft to the major leagues. And then it's another 2 to 4 years of playing consistently at the major league level to become a consistent producer. So, that's the truth of the matter. And these young players are still developing, and especially offensively. So, hopefully, with the starting rotation that we have, it's going to speed the process up a little more.
We were talking about the strength of the defense, and we just saw one of the rare mistakes by Mike Moustakas this spring, who has had an excellent defensive and offensive spring training. But I wanted to go back to Alcides Escobar, because I really believe the decision you made with Chris Getz is important. How can Chris Getz influence Alcides Escobar winning a Gold Glove?
Well, Getzy has a nice way about him, and you watch him throughout the year, and he's always makes a trip to the mound at the right time. He's always talking to Alcides and reminding him of certain situations and what have you. And they've got a great chemistry with one another. And really the pitcher-catcher relationship is obviously very, very important, but the shortstop second base relationship is not too far behind. And you can't win championships and win games consistently unless you have very good transfer skills in the middle and a double play combination that works in tandem and great chemistry. And we feel both of those guys work very well together.
Okay, a lot of talk about having a healthy Salvador Perez behind the dish. How about Lorenzo Cain? when you guys acquired him, did you realize that he had the potential that he really does? I saw it last year in the brief moments we had while he was healthy. He can go deep. He's got a strong throwing arm. He's got great range. He's a good center fielder. He takes good routes. How did you predict that he was going to be a
in that first inning, that line drive that was hit, I mean, that ball just kind of sunk all at the last minute. He stayed with it, and it's a great skill to be able to make a play like that. But, when we made the Greinke deal, and obviously Zach's pitching tonight, and what a terrific story that is. But, Lorenzo was a big part of that. Obviously, Alcides Escobar was. We wanted to get players up the middle that could impact our team, especially in our ballpark. Kauffman Stadium is the largest square footage of any outfield in baseball. And you have to have somebody in center field that can track the ball and go get it. And the thing about Lorenzo Cain, he's also capable of, 15-plus home runs a year if he stays healthy. And so we feel like he will. Again, Nick Kinney and our medical team done a terrific job with him this offseason. Lorenzo committed himself. He was in Kansas City most of the winter, and he looks good, and he's been great.
Here is a pop-up to the left side. Escobar drifting out, makes the catch. The Dodgers do score one off Wade Davis. It is an unearned run, and the Royals still hold a 2-1 lead. Beautiful surprise, Arizona. The Royals with a 2-1 lead over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Steve Physioc with Rex Hudler and General Manager Dayton Moore. Dayton, I wanted to talk about our franchise, the Royals, going up against really one of the power franchises in baseball, the Los Angeles Dodgers, who last year paid out $230 million payroll. That is a record, more than the New York Yankees. As a small market team, you must do it differently, and you had a plan. And you also added another minor league team when you took the job.
We did, and we've known from day one we're going to obviously have to build it from within. And, our goal was to have the majority of the core group of our players reflect homegrown talent by 2012 and 2013. And I can't say enough about the great work of J.J. Piccolo and Rene Francisco and Scott Sharp and Lonnie Goldberg and Mike Arbuckle and all of our minor league managers, coaches, instructors, and area scouts. I've always felt that your minor league managers and your area scouting supervisors are the backbone of your organization. And for us to be successful, again, we have to have top talent in those areas. We have to be able to keep that group of individuals together, believing in our system, working together, because one of the hardest things to do is to create synergy between scouting and player development. And fortunately, our people have done a terrific job in creating that synergy.
Rene Francisco is a guy you mentioned, and you guys have been friends for a long time, and all of a sudden you're breaking into the Latin American countries, getting Perez, getting Kelvin Herrera. And I go down to the minor league camp, and I see Adalberto Mondesi, and I see Elier Hernandez, and there are outstanding Latin players that you're now signing that were not in the Kansas City camp just 10 years ago.
No, they weren't. And Orlando Estevez, who is one of our international supervisors and has done a tremendous job day in and day out of setting the tone of putting us in a position to sign many of those players. And again, I'm just really proud of the work they've done, because I knew that to be a good organization, you have to have one of the best international programs in baseball. That's where the high ceiling athlete has come from in our game. They've come from Latin America. And when you look at players that play up the middle of the diamond, power arms in the back of the bullpen, a lot of them come from those areas. And the truth of the matter is, we needed to build a program, and our guys have done a terrific job.
Billy Butler with a single.
Dayton, we've talked about a lot of your position players, our starting staff, and we haven't even talked about what I think is the biggest strength in the team, the pin to win. You've got scud throwers out there, guys that are young, throw hard. That last year experience for these 21, 22-year-old young players was valuable for them. Now you got everything set. You got Holland, you got your setup guys coming, you got even the fact that you got Hochaver who says, I'm willing to pitch out of the pen, throwing 96 miles an hour, 97. All of them throw hard, and you can get instant strikeouts. Talk about your pen and how pleased you got to be with what they're throwing out there.
If you're going to win, you got to match up the last 3 innings of the game, and you've got to be able to do it consistently. And the truth of the matter there is as well, if you're winning and you're trying to win a championship, that pin's going to get used a lot. It's very difficult to say no in the 7th and 8th and 9th inning when Ned calls down there because and managers get criticized many times. Oh, they wore out the pin. Well, they wore out the pin because they won a championship, and that's what you have to you've got to be able to use those guys and match them up, and the fact that they're young, hopefully they stay healthy, and you talk about the power and the consistency with their off-speed stuff, and hopefully they can get hitters out in multiple ways, because there's going to be nights when they don't have their real good fastball, and they don't have command of one of the pitches that they usually go to, because maybe they've thrown for the 3rd day in a row. So you've got to have a talented pin, and hopefully our guys will continue with that. And you're right, you bring up Luke Hochaver, and he's been terrific, and we've always felt, and a lot of people that have counseled me about Luke Hochaver have always felt that he would be a dynamic bullpen pitcher, and we haven't been able to put him in that role because we've had to develop starters. And who knows, maybe Luke goes back in the rotation at some point in time. We're not saying he'll never be a starter, but I think he has a comfort zone right now, and we certainly like what we're seeing.
You assume that with those starting pitchers, you won't need more than one long man, maybe 2. A big league championship team, you don't even need a long man.
You hit it right on the head. I mean, very few quality rotations ever use a long man, unless something unforeseen happens. When you get to the ballpark, somebody gets stuck in traffic or what have you, and all of a sudden you need a spot starter. So it's
last year we saw as many as 3 long men in Ned's bullpen. It was because that was the kind of starting staff that we had at the time, and the injuries that happened and guys or some of them underperforming. It's a totally different year this year.
Well, it is, and we've got guys coming, and we feel really good about Yordani Ventura. Will Smith had a very good camp. So Jason Adam, local kid there in Kansas City, is really growing up, and
struck out Hosmer looking the other day in that minor league game.
He's a neat kid too, and tremendous worker. He's lived down here pretty much year round ever since we signed him, and to a man, I mean, he's one of the players that in our camp that to a man we're very proud of. I mean, everybody talks so highly of him, and he's making himself putting himself in a pretty good position.
Your first-round pick from last year, Kyle Zimmer, pitched today in a minor league game. Give us a scouting report on what you saw.
Kyle's been terrific, and he's probably going to start the season in Wilmington, and then depending on how he goes, we'll transition him from there. So,
Dayton, thank you very much for joining us.
All right, Steve. Thanks, Rex.
Dayton,
opening day 1 week away.
We could have you for the rest of the game. Why don't you stay with us?
I'd love to.
All right.
The Royals with a 2-1 lead over the Dodgers. The new-look Blue Jays are coming to town during the first homestand of the season, starting on Friday, April 12th. That Sunday will be Family Fun Day as well, so bring your friends and family out for the first weekend of baseball in Kansas City. Get your tickets now at Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS. That's the kind of fun you have in spring training out there on the berm. Everybody brings their families. The kids have a chance to run after home run balls. And here we go. Inning number 4. Wade Davis will face Adrian Gonzalez, or Andre Ethier, Luis Cruz, and Jerry Hairston Jr.
Yeah, beautiful ballpark here, no question about it. And an 85-degree weather today was beautiful. And these fans that are sitting out there with their blankets on that berm out there over the outfield fence, man, they're loving it. And the only thing they're hoping for, a couple souvenirs, maybe someone will hit them to them. Ball really carries here. Amazing, though, this is one of the rare nights, Viz, and you've been doing all the games on radio this year, is that the flags are just laying straight down. There's no wind. Shock the house.
It's evening. It's usually those winds come around 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and they are ripping out towards left center usually.
Never see them laying down.
Nothing. Ethier gets an off-speed pitch from Wade Davis, and this is a guy who's always had starting stuff. I mean, he has his fastball with heavy sink, a late-breaking slider, a curveball that's 11-5, and then the ability to locate that fastball. That's the two-seamer, Hud, right there.
Yeah, and you know, in Ethier, he don't want to leave the batter's box. He's having a hard time believing that, but it looked pretty good to me. Look where Salvador's sitting on the outside corner, and Ethier, you got to go. That ball is hittable. If you don't hack, they'll make you go back.
Here is Luis Cruz. And this is the young man who will replace Hanley Ramirez at shortstop. Got it on the fist, and Salvador will race there, but it will just be a strike in the 1-1 count. That guy has a smile on his face every single second. During batting practice the other day, he has everybody laughing. He's in the outfield, and a friend of mine was with me, and he said, "Who's that screaming in the outfield?" And I said, "That's Salvador Perez." And every time, like Francoeur or Gordon would hit the ball, he'd go, "See or no," which means, is it a home run or not? And then if it went over the wall, he'd dance up and down and scream for his teammate, and Frenchie and Gordy were laughing.
It's childlike. It's childlike enthusiasm. You love that. Passion. Energy. I talked with James Shields today. I said, "Big game, James, do you have any idea about that young man you're throwing?" He goes, "Oh, yeah. He's caught me a few times this spring, but I noticed him when we played against him, and he made his debut. He threw out a couple runners, and I saw his passion. I saw him pump his fist, and I started thinking, man, this guy, he's for real."
Cruz pops up, gets he out, and Chris will take care of Cruz for out number 2.
And, we've chronicled our young team and how good they are and how high their ceiling is. But when you hear the major networks starting to talk and scouts talk about our team, then it really makes you feel good. We're not just up here blowing smoke. This is legitimate. These guys are some of the future of baseball right here, superstars.
And obviously they're playing in a very strong division because many people feel the Detroit Tigers might be the best team in the American League. They represented the league in the World Series, losing to the San Francisco Giants. But my goodness, that rotation of Max Scherzer and Verlander and Pfister and Sanchez, and Porcello's having a great spring as well.
No, you know what? They know, the Royals know what they're up against. But I really enjoy talking to opposing managers when it comes to the Royals. And Jim Leland, he's a huge fan of the Royals. He knows exactly what's coming. He sees it. He's a smart manager. Also, Robin Ventura, those two managers that finished ahead of the Royals last year, they know that it's going to be a different year this year. They're in for a battle because of they armed. They got this kid Davis right here we're looking at. He's a gamer, loves to pitch, to go along with Shields. There's not going to be any 10 or 12 game losing streaks for the Royals this year. I can guarantee you that. Good starting pitching stops that.
He had set up Hairston with pitches inside and gets him away to pop up to Jeff Francoeur. So he played 3.5 innings here in Surprise, and still Kansas City 2, the Dodgers 1. At home, and we're wondering how the Royals scored first. Zach Greinke pitching. Gordon and Escobar opened with base hits, and Salvador Perez with a gapper to right center field drove in 2. The Royals with 2 runs on 6 hits. The Dodgers have 1 on 3, and now it is Greinke facing Eric Hosmer. Hosmer lined out to right field to end that first inning as the Royals hit Greinke hard in the first with 2 lineouts. Eric much stronger this year. Just taking a look at him, and he talked about his work ethic in the offseason, trying to rebound from a down year. And what he did was he has a new home down in Florida near the Everglades, built a batting cage. Andre David, Jack Maloof worked with him and got his stroke back. And Eric also praised the work of Kevin Seitzer, what he did for him last year.
His brother and him worked on some things, just kind of broke it down and said, hey, look, let's just get back to the bases. Let's just hit. His brother's name is Mike, and they worked, and just got into just like you play in the backyard. Let's just go play some ball. Let the natural reaction start happening again. See the ball first and don't overcommit. Keep it simple. Basically, that's what you want.
Because Eric said nobody knows my stroke better than my brother, who's seen me grow up.
But keeping things simple is what you want, and can be very difficult, especially when you're not hitting and you're over anxious and you're jumping out at the ball. You get into bad habits, and he was not able to make adjustments last season like you have to make.
Rex, he also had Jack Maloof, and Jack Maloof was with him and Mike Moustakas growing up in the minor leagues. How important is that?
Oh, you know what? That's a great hire. Now, if you had to move Seitzer, look, that's fine if that's your business. But when you bring somebody in, Dayton wanted to bring somebody in that already knew the guys. The guys knew him. That's smart. There's some familiarity there. There's, a big league hitting coach, you're not changing guys' mechanics. That you're more working mental muscle, that delicate mental muscle. Talking about pitch selection, what you're looking for up there. You'll make some mechanical adjustments on a guy when you need to, but it's more mental. And Haas, He did a little mental work a little mental massaging last year. And he's gotten it over the offseason, and now he's with Jack and Andre David, 2 hitting coaches, which really is a good thing with all those hitters. It's good to have 2 hitting coaches. I think it's a good move to get 2 guys.
You'll also have veterans coming off the bench. And Eric Hosmer will walk. And speaking of veterans, Joel Goldberg is one with one former MVP.
That's right, Fizz, and good to be able to catch up with Miguel Tejada. Been having a great time here with the Royals and with the Dominican team, champions of the World Baseball Classic. Let me ask you about that first. You were the leader of that team, and you said people went a little crazy back home.
Yeah, people was happy. And back home, people were waiting for that moment. I think that's the 3rd time that our team go to the WBC, and the first 2 times we lost. For this time we give it to our country what they're looking for.
Well, you and Kelvin Herrera, part of that team, and now you're here with this group. And I remember early in spring training you told me, even with all the years you've had in this game, whatever they need you to do, you will do. How much do you like that role?
Oh, I love it. Seriously, I just want to be playing anywhere. When I sign in here, I just sign it for one reason. I sign it because I think that's going to be my opportunity. I can get a ring. And right now, any role that the money want me to do, I'm prepared. I'm prepared for that, and I just want to be helpful for the team.
James Shields has told me that this team reminds them a lot of the young Tampa Bay Rays teams when they got good. You said this team reminds you of someone too.
Yeah, I remember when I was in Oakland, when my first 3 years in Oakland, and when I got all the young guys, all the bunch of guys. I remember the 20 games that we winning in a row. I mean, this thing is looking. I think Mustake remember me, Chavez, when the Chavez playing those years, and I see it guests and help me. It's a great thing. It's kind of a good memory, and I think if we all together is prepared every day to win again, I think we can win more than 20 in a row.
The other thing that you told me early in spring training was how much you love being a teacher. And every time I look here in the dugout with young guys, a lot of the young Latin guys, minor leaguers, I saw you one morning, 38 years old, and you're sitting with 6 or 7 guys in the clubhouse that aren't going to be on the big league roster. Why is that important to you?
It's important. It's important because I think those kids look out for me. It doesn't matter where they are, Puerto Rico, Dominican, Venezuela. I think I just want to help. I want to help any kid that need my help. I'm here to help all the young guys too. I mean, if they need something, I'm here. And I think that's one of the reasons I signed in here.
You told me you did something yesterday, and I know you're going to help. You said any way you can. You did something yesterday that you've never done in the big leagues before. No,
first time I played first base. I love it. I'm happy to get in the game yesterday, and that's all I can do. The only thing that I can do, I prepare my body and my mind every day. When the manager need me in any position, I prepare. I think I'll fly ball in the outfield too, just in case they need me.
I think one of the great moments in spring training, it was a player's moment. The cameras weren't there. Was I think Jeff Francoeur and James Shields were able to get a group golf outing together, and they had something like 45 guys, which is a lot. And I asked you ready to go? And you said it was your first time ever playing golf. At 38 years old, that says a lot that you went. And tell me what happened.
I think the reason I didn't play golf is because when I'm in the whole season, I spend a lot of time with my family. And what I try, golf is a great sport. It's a great sport. I like to watching it. I never get a chance to play. And that day, when they get here, all those guys, they get together. I want to be part of that. I want to be part of this group. And I went there and have a good time.
Okay, so your first tee shot, what did they do?
They put me a exploding ball. They put a exploding ball. When I hit the ball exploded. I was so nervous. I would think I'm too strong to hit the ball.
Exploding golf ball on the guy that had never played golf before. That's not really nice. I'm wondering if the guy that's batting right now, Jeff Francoeur, if that was him.
Yeah, I was saying for, one thing that I like from that, I not get mad. For one thing that I like is because those guys gave me to his wing already. Even it's the first time that I'm on this team, I feel like I'm in the group already when they do that, and I'm happy. I like those kind of stuff because we as a family, we got to do some funny stuff to be all together in this game,
All right, so final thing then, when you look at all the guys on this team, and you mentioned Escobar, and we haven't talked about Salvador Perez. Everybody knows how good he is. A lot of youth. What do you think? What do you think this team can do this year?
I think I'm not gonna just say that we're gonna win because nobody knows who will win. So I think myself and all the veterans that we're here, we're gonna push those guys to play hard every single day. And I think we're just gonna take one game at a time. And I think this is it. This is the year, and we have everything that we need to win a championship. And I think everybody have that in their mind. And I think that's why I'm here. I'm gonna win it. I'm gonna win it even if we're not on the field. I'm gonna win it.
Well, it's been fun to watch you and helping out with the young kids. And you said we'll see you in a little bit at second base tonight.
Yes, I'm going to be playing second base. I'm going to be ready. I got 3 gloves on my back, and, I'm ready for anything.
All right, looking forward to it. Thanks for the visit, Miguel.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Miguel Tejada, World Baseball Classic champion, former MVP, and a big-time leader here with the Royals.
He does know how to lead, Joel, because he came from a very tough background. Born and raised in Bani in the Dominican Republic, and it was a village that was really hit hard by a hurricane. And Miguel Tejada, growing up, was a shoeshine boy at the age of 7, I understand. And he and his wife, Rex now, Alejandra, do a lot in their community. They do a lot of events to raise money for the hurricane victims in the Dominican Republic. And also, he went to Haiti and helped out there when they had that hurricane in 2010. A man with a big heart, and I can see him managing in the majors.
And he said a lot of interesting things. And one of the things I liked the most was he said that he wants to help the team do what he's doing right now. Look at, he's working with Moose. But what I want to see, and what Royals fans are going to be able to see, is can you help us off the bench? Can you come in with a big pinch hit? Can you make the plays at third base? I mean, we saw an aging Unieski Betancourt last year. Okay, we saw him and his lack of range and some of the plays that got under his glove, and we were like going, oh man, and then Irving Falou came. And so I'm interested to see how Miguel plays. Now, I watched him in the WBC. He looked good. He hit some nice balls. He got a couple big hits for the team. So he still looks like he can help from an offensive and defensive standpoint. That's what I'm looking forward to. We know he's going to lead. He has that personality.
But that's why you said it was important to have veterans coming off the bench.
That's the one thing, and I didn't get a chance to ask Dayton while I was up here. I wanted to tell him and congratulate him for bringing in some veteran leadership. They needed some extra guys to help Gordon and Hosmer. And a few of those guys, Billy Butler.
Rex, we were told that Zach Greinke would probably go around the 70-pitch mark. Remember, he's coming off that elbow problem. Walks the first 3 batters, and he is done. So we'll have a call to the bullpen by our KC Chevy dealers. So Greinke, a former Royal, is done as a Dodger this evening. We'll be right back. Are you looking to spend opening day at the K? You can still secure your seats to the home opener with a Royals ticket package for as little as $8 a game. Punch your ticket to opening day now at Royals.com or by calling 1-800-6-ROYALS. Here in Surprise, Arizona, a double switch. The new pitcher is Matt Guerrier. He will hit in the 7th spot. and they'll also bring in Juan Uribe to play third base, and he will hit in Zach Greinke's spot, batting second in the 5th inning. There is Juan Uribe, the veteran. He's been with the Chicago White Sox, among other teams. He's bulked up. Here is Chris Getz with the bases loaded and nobody out. And Getzy with a line drive base hit to right field. This will score Eric Hosmer to make it 3-1.
That's exactly what you do. Bases loaded. Guerrero comes in. He's looking to establish, get that first strike in there, and Getzy was ready for it. Good, short, compact swing. That's the thing that I've been impressed with. It gets his spring. He's not hitting a lot of balls in the air because really he doesn't have any home run power, but he's stood up a little bit. He's got a little bit of a swing, a downward plane, so he's finding holes. He's hitting the ball on the ground, and when you have speed, that's what you want to do.
Base is still loaded with nobody out. Now 3-1 KC. Alex Gordon has singled and struck out. Scored Kansas City's first run in the double by Salvador Perez.
Last season, Chris Getz stood up more, thinking he could hit for more power. This spring, he's got a little bit of a crouch in his stance, so he's a little bit lower as far as his start of his position, and that's something that him and Jack Maloof have been working on, and that's trying to stay with a downward stroke, trying to hit the gap and hit the balls on the ground just like he did.
And there is a tapper towards third. They will make the play to first base. It's wild, and 2 runs will score, maybe 3. No, they'll hold the runner. Chris Getz at third base, but Kansas City goes in front 5-1 on the hit and error.
Yeah, Uribe, he's better off putting that ball in his pocket. There's no way he's going to make a play on that. So he threw him a couple runs. Okay, especially Gordon. You know, in spring training, you got to know your guys. Gordon runs well. I mean, he's not a burner, but he's a guy who has, slightly above average speed, and the ball bounced in towards the dugout, so it was going away from Uribe, and there's no way he can make that throw.
Royals have an opportunity for a huge inning. They've already scored 3, and they have runners at second and third base with nobody out. 3 walks, 2 hits, 1 error.
It's a good spot there by Guerrero.
And he is bidding for a spot in Los Angeles' bullpen. A veteran, now 34 years old, out of Cleveland, Ohio, in his 9th big league season. Infield in for the Dodgers. Escobar does not get too many of these RBI situations. Here you've got a second and third first bases open. What should his mentality be?
Right now, he's going to look for something he can hit. He can drive. He's got 2 strikes on him. Anything up out over the plate, he's going to take a shot to right. He likes to hit the ball that way. If it's inside, though, he might pull it. With 2 strikes, he's going to hit anything that's close. Nobody out. It's a chance to get one elevated for a sac fly.
He hit it deep enough for a sacrifice fly in his last at bat. First time up single to left field.
I don't know the Dodger bullpen like I would if the season was going. So Guerrero, I'm not sure what his chances are if he's a lock for this spot or not. But Greinke and established guys, they're trying to get in shape. Guerrero might be trying to get some outs. He might be trying to really pitch here.
He did. He does, and he strikes out Escobar, who's mad at himself as he heads back to the dugout.
Because this is an important time for a lot of guys. The last week of the season here, the Dodgers, they've got a freeway series coming up this coming weekend out in LA with the Angels, and they're going to be leaving here Thursday and you know, Donnie Magley's got to cut down his roster. So these guys are looking for this last opportunity to really show what they can do.
So are you telling me that during the regular season with first base open, well, no, during the spring training they're going to walk Butler? I thought they might pitch to him because of what you were talking about. Go ahead and see if you can get the big guy out.
Look,
but they're setting up the double play with Moustakas.
Right, Donnie Baseball's not messing around. And you know, some of the Royals fans here are going, hey, come on. We paid ticket to see Billy hit. Come on, spring training game. Let's go.
Well, now they can work on allowing the Keystone to move back. That's a situation where one pitch can get you 2 outs if you keep it down.
But here come the Moose calls.
There is Don Mattingly. He has a loaded team. 10 players will make $11 million or more in 2013. The Honeycutt is to his left, to our screen right. Here's the pitching coach for the Dodgers. And here is Moose with the bases loaded. Moustakas with 12 RBIs this spring.
Yeah, that's a good little running fastball away from him. Moose did a good job of laying off that. He's looking for something to pull.
Ellis froze with the ball in his glove, hoping to get the call from home plate umpire Anthony Johnson. Did not, and it's a 2-0 count. Is Moose looking in a certain zone?
Oh, pilot to Bombardier. How about a slam? Moose had the only one last year in the regular season. Give him a cookie here.
And he rips it to right field. In comes Getz. Kansas City goes in front 6-1.
Okay, pick your poison. There's another reason why Ned put Billy in the third spot. He needs protection behind him, and a hot hitting Moose is going to be the answer for that. You walk a guy ahead of you. The next guy comes up. Even though it wasn't an inside pitch, Moose is still looking to pull. Found the hole. And until Moose really establishes himself as a number 4 hitter, you're going to see some of that. Managers are going to walk Billy Butler. They're going to go to Moose. And then that pressure's on Moose to come through, and then they'll stop doing that.
Salvador Perez looking for his first home run this spring, and he has hit the ball well. He came into today's play with a batting average of .395 and 6 RBIs. He has doubled in 2 today. And he chases a pitch out of the strike zone. Matt Guerrier expected to be one of the Dodgers setup men this year for Kenley Jansen and Brandon League. Ooh, and good pitching to Salvador Perez. Strikes him out.
He tricked him. Oh, and some downward action. That's a good looking pitch. It started belt high.
So now the guy that started the inning for Kansas City, Eric Hosmer, coming up. He walked and scored on the base hit by Chris Getz. Last year in spring training, Eric Hosmer had a fantastic spring, and when the season began, he was hitting ropes but right at people. And Rex, it seemed to get into his mind, and all of a sudden he changed. So chopper up the middle. Hosmer is out at first, so is Kansas City, but they score 4 runs in the inning and go up 6-1 on the Dodgers. Royals baseball is brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealer. We come to you from Surprise, Arizona, where Kansas City has a 6-1 lead over the Los Angeles Dodgers in the top of the 5th inning. Steve Physiak along with Rex Hudler. We're now joined by star pitcher James Shields, acquired in the offseason from Tampa Bay. And James, my question to you is, you were with one organization for 12 years. Rex Hudler was released, traded, suspended, fired by about 24 different organizations, so he knows what it's like. But what's it like for you to go with a new team?
I'll tell you what, man, these guys have been great. This transition's been phenomenal. You know, they've welcomed me and Wade and Elliott with open arms, and you know, we're having a lot of fun here in spring training this year.
And it's been easy for you. I mean, you seem very, very comfortable in the clubhouse, having fun with your guys in the field as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, these guys are willing to win and want to win right now, and you know, they like to have a little fun in the clubhouse and here out on the field, and it seems like it's showing.
James, the Rays had trouble drawing people and fans and attendance, and I'm sure that you felt you heard some passion periodically during you guys' run. You had some good years there, but you're coming to a market in Kansas City that there's passion. These people, I can't believe the passion I felt last year personally and when the team did well. What can they expect to see from you on the bump?
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, I'm going to go out there and compete every 5 days. That's what I feel like I'm about. I feel like I'm a good competitor, and you know, I'm going to go out there and give my all every 5 days, and you know, that's all you can really ask for. You know, these fans have been unbelievable here in spring training, and I went to Fan Fest, and the fans are great at Fan Fest, and you know, I'm really looking forward to getting to know the fans a little bit, and you know, seeing some nice crowds out there in Kaufman.
James, one of the guys who helped you out last year was Wade Davis, and when you were traded to Kansas City, you went to the media conference, and you said about Wade Davis, you called him the silent assassin. Could you give us a scouting report of your teammate?
That's right, man. He's the ultimate competitor. He goes out there, he competes every 5 days as well, and you know, he's very quiet. You know, but he goes out there with this kind of attitude that, you know, no one can beat him, and that's what you kind of need. You kind of need to have that little attitude out on the mound, and you know, have that confidence. So Wade's you know, he's a great pitcher, and he's, you know, I think last year in the bullpen, I think he learned a lot in the bullpen last year on how to be what type of pitcher he is.
I noticed that he checks the runner at first base almost exactly like you do, where you bend from the waist and you almost look like a praying mantis as you turn and look towards first base. Did he get that from you?
Well, I mean, you know, we had a guy named Dick Bosman in our minor league, you know, he's one of our coaches in the minor leagues, and I think he's a minor league coordinator for Tampa. He, you know, he's a big fan of controlling the running game and reading runners over there, and you know, it's just a style. It's just a style that we kind of adopted, really. You know, and I think it feels very comfortable, and it seems to be working out for us both.
I'll say, he looks like a coiled snake looking over there.
Hey, it's funny. It's funny because sometimes we go down into our little squad position to see what kind of distance they got over there at first base, and we get some guys going back to first thinking we're going to pick off.
Now, James, in 06 and 07, the team that you played for, the Rays, had dead last material. You guys were dead last, and all of a sudden you went from worst to first, and you actually won the only World Series game in Rays history in 08 against the Phillies. What was that like?
You know, I'm going to tell you what, you know, we always had the talent. We always had the talent. You know, we were a very exciting team, but we just never really put it together. We didn't have that chemistry, you know, inside the clubhouse.
Lorenzo Cain comes on and makes the catch for the first out. Go ahead, James.
And we didn't have that chemistry. You know, we weren't really playing as a team. We weren't really thriving off each other, feeding off each other, and really uniting as one. And, you know, in 2008, we brought in some guys like Eric Kinski and Cliff Floyd and guys like that, some veteran guys that had experience winning and kind of showed us what it's all about. And, you know, we had a lot of fun that year in the clubhouse, off the field, and really tried to stay as relaxed as possible. And I think that's kind of a very similar situation here. I think, you know, that we have a lot of talent on this team, but, you know, we just need to put it all together.
So you see similarities between the Rays and the young Royals camp this year?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, our team is, as you can see in spring training, I mean, we're putting on a phenomenal display hitting the spring training, and you know, now we got 5 guys that are in the starting rotation. They can compete every 5 days and give us a chance to win, and we also have a phenomenal bullpen. So with that kind of combination, you're definitely going to win a lot of ball games.
We all know that winning the Cactus League crown is meaningless, but what does it mean for you to join this team and for this team to have such a good spring? What's that done?
You know, I think it's just more or less gives us confidence, man. I mean, we're playing really good baseball right now, and I think that you know, obviously you don't want to lose 25 games in spring training. I mean, it doesn't really do bode well for the season, but you know, I think we're playing really well right now overall. I mean, we're moving runners over, we're getting runners in when we have runners in scoring position. We're playing the game the right way in spring training, and you know, as long as we can translate it into the season, I think it's going to be great.
And Ned Yo said the other day that he would put the Royals defense up against any team in the American League. When you turn around and you're in trouble and you see the infield and outfield behind you, how much confidence does it give you, James?
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, we definitely have some guys out there that definitely can win the Gold Glove. Obviously, you got Gordo out in left, just won the Gold Glove already. You got Esky that could possibly win a Moose. I mean, you got Salvi behind the dish. I mean, there's a play right there that just shows it. But, you know, I mean, you know, you got guys, you know, you got Haas at first. I mean, you got guys, a lot of guys are potential Gold Glove winners. So it's as a pitcher, I mean, you got to feel confident with that.
Okay, speaking of that, when you got bases loaded in the 9th inning and you're going for a CG, just like you did on your last game last year, where you struck out 15, and you have a great downward sinker and changeup, and you throw it to Salvador Perez because you know he can block it. That's got to give you some extra confidence.
I'll tell you what. You know, I talked with you earlier about this, man. He's almost like a hockey goalie back there. He's got some ham hocks for some thighs, man. He's a big boy back there, man. So, and you know, he's very passionate. He loves the game. He's very intense. He's into every single pitch, and you know, he gives you a lot of confidence as a pitcher.
James, can you talk a little bit about October 2nd last season, your final start for the Rays in the final one of the season? And you struck out 15 guys and had a CG, just gave up 2 hits, and it was a team record, obviously, but to finish strong like that, and then to take it over to April 1st in the Windy City against Chicago, you got to be pretty pumped now. It's a little pressure. Can you duplicate that?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, I'm not one of those guys that like to strike guys out. I mean, I get my fair share of strikeouts, but I like to go deep in the game, man. I feel like I have an old school soul. You know, I like to take the ball and try to go 9 every time I'm out there. And you know, I think that last game of the year, I mean, even though I got 15 strikeouts, I still lost 1-0.
Man, that's unbelievable. Now,
Escobar bobbles it. And the Dodgers do have runners on the corners, with the Royals leading 6-1. James, I've got to ask you this question. Just listening to my partner ask questions, does that pump you up?
Yeah, Rex, he's getting me all fired up for the season, man.
I can't help it.
Yeah, man, I love it. I love it.
You know what? It was hard for the Royals faithful to understand me in my last year, being here, you know, last season. But, you know, it's just love of baseball. It's fun. Baseball, when you come to the ballpark, it's entertainment. Now, for you guys, it's a little bit different because it's your profession, and I understand all that goes along with that. But, man, baseball is so beautiful, and to have a young, talented team, you never know what you're going to see from day to day.
Hey, well, I'll tell you what, Rexy, man, we're going to try to get you fired up all season with some wins, man.
That's what does in the fan base. I'm not worried about me. I'm going to get there no matter what. But it's the fans that are starving for a winning team in Kansas City. And by the looks of things in this spring, it might just happen.
Yeah, man, we're excited. We're excited the way our team's looking right now.
Jeff Rancourt took a shot, but Eric Hosmer cut it off as a sacrifice fly will score the second run for the Dodgers, cutting the Royals' lead to 4.
Hey, James, can I ask you about something that's very important? You and your lovely wife have done a lot in the community there where you live in Florida and also out in Southern California about foster children. Can you talk about how you give and what you guys do, your organization, a Big Game James Club? What's it all about? And share with the people in KC where your heart is off the field.
You know, I'll tell you what, we had an opportunity to help out the community, and we got approached by the Heart Gallery in Florida, which is a foster care program. you know, sending pictures out and getting these kids' faces out there to be able to get adopted. And you know, I mean, we were blessed. You know, we were blessed as a family to be able to have our own parents, and not many kids get a chance to do that. So we like to help them out a lot.
And will you guys will you hold fundraisers? Do you go physically? Do you go to the
Rex,
office?
James and his wife changed the law in Florida. And talk about that, James.
Yeah, I mean, we ended up, they weren't allowed to take, foster parents weren't allowed to take kids to baseball games. And they kind of had to have permission and all this other stuff. But, you know, I thought it was kind of a bad thing. I mean, just to be able to go to a baseball game, I mean, it's good memories for the kids. And, you know, me and my wife, we ended up having the Big Game James Club. That's how we basically started it. We hosted 50 foster kids at the game, put them up in a suite, you know, and people were allowed to go up there and hang out with the kids and possibly adopt kids, and you know, we had a lot of fun with it. I mean, it just gave these kids an opportunity to create good memories, and not you know, they don't have very many memories, so it's you know, it's a great thing to do for them.
Right now, Adrian Gonzalez is the batter. Gonzalez launches one, but foul.
All that is
and
a long
speaking
strike
of
right there.
long drives, I was watching the hitters hit the other day. James Shields hit 478 at Newhall High School, and he was the at Newhall, California, LA Times Player of the Year. James, I was watching the pitchers hit. You're a pretty good hitter, and we'll play the Philadelphia Phillies. You're going to have to hit, and it'll be the first time in a long time for you in a big league game to hit.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, we hit every year in our league, but yeah, I'm pretty much a BP hitter now.
Gonzalez to center field. Lorenzo Cain will make the catch. James Shields, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys.
And we will talk with you later, sir. Relaxing Cactus League Baseball. And you can follow the Royals this spring and all season long with MLB.com. At Bat for your electronics devices. At Bat delivers spring training wherever you are with scores, stats, searchable video, live audio, and more. Text At Bat to 31826 or visit Royals.com for details. Matt Guerrier stays in the game to pitch for the Dodgers. He came on in relief of Zach Greinke, who gave up 5 runs in 3+ innings. And Lorenzo Cain will lead things off, and it looks like he was looking for something other than a breaking ball.
Guerrier's got good stuff. How personable is James Shields? We could have talked with him the rest of the game. Why did you send him? Why did you send him back in the dugout?
I just thought I was supposed to.
We could have. I had a few
I
more
didn't know
questions.
you were the analyst/producer.
Oh man!
And Lorenzo Cain shortens his stroke and just lines a shot up the middle. Back to you, Mr. Analyst / producer.
Fizz, that's a beautiful stroke. And I'm going to tell you, when you're a hitter and you make contact and that goes by that pitcher's body, and you see that as a knock, it's a hit before you even leave the box. It's a beautiful feeling. Look at that. Nice short stride. Very good balance. Head position nice. Didn't jump, just threw his hands. And young players out there listening, hitting a baseball is very difficult, but it's all about using your hands. Keep your head on it. Don't pull your head. You got a better chance of doing it.
Here's Jeff Francoeur, who felt he was pulling his head last year, and he straightened that out.
And he was wrapping his bat. When you wrap your bat, you have a tendency to pop things up. You're not getting the square of the ball. You're having to carry that bat a long way through the strike zone. So he's working on it, and he knows that the pressure's on him to have a good start in a solid season. He's got to get off good. Frenchie knows that, and he's had a good spring. He's coming on strong here.
Well, one of the guys who early in his career struggled, and then Charlie Lau figured him out and had a successful career, is Hall of Famer George Brett, who is now with Joel Goldberg.
All right, thank you very much. And George is actually sitting in the back of the dugout here watching this Jeff Francoeur at bat, and so we'll take a look at that. As I know George is a big fan of Francoeur's. How about overall? We see here every year throwing batting practice, working with the guys. What do you think? What have you seen so far?
Well, I've seen the Royals win a lot of ball games, and I think everybody in Kansas City notices that, and it's pretty amazing how we've done it. We've done it some days with great defense, a lot of days with great offense, but the pitching has been so much better from our starting pitchers. And, you look at our team last year, that was our weakness, and Dayton Moore's fixed our weakness, so everybody's really excited. And everybody always says, winning in spring training, it doesn't mean anything. Hey, whenever you do anything, you want to win, and these guys are learning how to win right now, and I think hopefully it carries over.
Seeing a really fun group, but also a competitive group, a lot of camaraderie, and of course, in your days of playing, those teams in the late 70s and into the 80s were really tight-knit. Do you see some of that?
I see a lot of it, and I even see guys like James Shields and Wayne Davis and Santana fitting right in. These guys welcome these guys with open arms, and they've adapted to the Royal players right now. They're very close, and I don't think a lot of the pitchers had to be here tonight, but you saw Jeremy Guthrie, you saw James Shields in the dugout the first 5 or 6 innings, and they just left. But they didn't have to be here. They wanted to come and watch their teammates play, and that's very important.
All right, so how much fun, we've asked you this before, do you have out here? Because you see on that field every day with a smile on your face.
It's fun. It's a chance for me to put on a uniform again and throw batting practice and be close to the guys that I pull for all year long. And, I tell them I'm their biggest fan. I love the Royals and will to the day I die. And it's just to see them have success and to see guys like Moose come through right there. They just intentionally walked Billy Butler in a game, and you saw Moose's first pitch he took. He was all real excited, and then all of a sudden he calmed down. Then he just reacted with a base hit. And to see the way Chris Getz has emerged this year, hitting the ball with more authority, and of course playing good second base. But everybody, it's so much fun to watch. And when you become close with people, it's even more fun. And I'm pretty close with all these guys.
You got to have a word with your old competitor Don Mattingly there about a spring training intentional walk.
No, I was walked a few times in spring training, too. So I think as part of the game, Billy came up and said, man, I've never seen that before. And I told him a story about me one year when Willie Wilson stole second base against Sparky Anderson. And they intentionally walked me. And after the game, I said something to Sparky, and he said, I'm going to walk you every time Willie Wilson steals second. Guess what? Willie didn't steal second against the Tigers.
Yeah, funny how that happens.
So that's just a little message, and I'm glad Moose didn't try to do too much and just stayed within himself. As a result of that, he got a base hit and drove in a run.
What about the young kids? I mean, there's been a lot made, I think rightfully so, about the need for Hosmer and Moustakas and Kane, Escobar to take that next step. They're still really young. What have you seen?
Well, Eric, when he went away, before he went away, excuse me, to the WBC, he was starting to swing the bat pretty good, and then all of a sudden he got in a little bit of funk, and he's trying to work his way out of that right now. And, Moose has had a great spring. Billy always has a great spring. Salvi's had a great spring. But the young guys have really played well, and we need them. We need Francoeur to have a good year, come back and rebound from last year's disaster. We need Hosmer to come back and have a good year. I think they're aware of that, and they've worked extremely hard in trying to get a consistent approach for when the season starts. They're going to be ready to play every day. They know the importance of this season. Royals went out and made a big commitment, trading 4 minor leaguers to get 2 starting pitchers and Elliott Johnson. But they've worked extremely, extremely hard. Jack Malouf's done a great job, and I'm real excited for opening day coming up.
Your guy, Frenchie, just got a hit, so there you go. I know you didn't see it, but you heard that.
Today. That's the second hit today. That's good.
Have you seen something different from him here in spring?
I've seen him cut down on his swing a little bit, be a little bit more patient. He's got a slower load and just more relaxed at the plate. There was a time in the beginning of spring he swung the bat good, and then he went into a long period. And like veterans do, they don't really worry about it that much. And then I think someone had a talk with him saying, hey, it's important for you to have a good spring. He's really worked his tail off the last week and a half, 2 weeks in the cage prior to the game, early in the morning, say at 8:30 in the morning, and then right before the game he goes back in. And I see him now taking batting practice a little bit more serious on field 2, on field 1, prior to the games, rather than just going up there and swinging the bat. Now he's swinging the bat with a purpose. He's trying to get a swing honed down for, and ready for opening day. And as a result, you're starting to see him swing the bat pretty good right now. And come opening day, I hope all these guys go in there with the confidence that they need to go out there and get off to a good start, because obviously we remember last year's start. They do too, and they don't want it to happen again.
We're going to stick here for a little bit with the Hall of Famer George Brett as we see a pitching change. It's actually a former Royal, J.P. Howell, coming out to the mound. So we've seen Greinke, we've seen Howell, a couple of former Royals draft picks here with the Dodgers now. You touched on James Shields a little bit. And, you obviously played with some great leaders, some pitchers that you knew. You knew that Dennis Leonard was going to go deep into the game, Mr. Complete Game. What does it mean to have James Shields here? What have you seen from him?
Well, I think it was most evident his last game he pitched. I forget where we were playing, but he gave up 2 runs in the first. It was against the Angels the other day. 2 runs in the first, 5 in the second, none in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, and he got a win. He didn't say, hey, I'm getting hammered out here. My stuff's not working. Let me go in. He wanted to get his 80-pitch count or whatever it was, and he bared down after the second inning and pitched pretty well. Got a win out of that game. We scored 7 runs in the third or fourth inning and got him a win. But he's that type of guy. He's going to try to finish every game he pitches. A tremendous leader for the rest of our starters, and it's been a lot of fun to have him around the team.
Yeah, I like what he said. That he was interviewed before the game, which starting pitchers usually don't do.
Hey, I'm opening day starter. What if I give up 9 runs? Well, he did, and he still got the win.
He said, I'm never doing that again. But he was talking to, because he had been named the opening day starter, and people wanted to ask him about that. Rex is upstairs, and you can turn this down. He wants to ask you a question. But
sure, I can answer anything from Rex.
I knew that. I knew you would. All right, what do you got, Hud?
George, in our day, whenever a starting pitcher wasn't pitching that day, or a veteran came out of a game or wasn't starting, they didn't have to come to the game. They were free to go play golf or do whatever they wanted to do. It speaks volume, George, that James Shields, Guthrie, these guys, they come out and watch their team. You touched on it earlier, but that's huge.
All right, George doesn't hear it, so I've got to translate now. I don't know if that's the right word. Translate Hudisms. He said it was a long question, so I'll try to shorten it a little bit. But he was just talking about back when you guys played. You didn't necessarily see starting pitchers come out here like Shields did, like Guthrie did tonight, and just what that says about those guys.
Well, yeah, if you don't have to be here, a lot of these guys would rather be doing other things, but you could tell those guys would rather be here with their teammates than maybe out having a nice dinner somewhere, or going to a movie, or going home and see their wives and their kids and stuff like that. These guys wanted to be here, and that's pretty fantastic of them.
Shields is still out there too, as we see him on the monitor, so he's still hanging out, and I think he's going to keep a lot of guys on their toes too, whether it be serious or fun stuff.
He's a winner. He's a winner, and I think if something happens, he sees something on the field that he doesn't like, he's going to let it known. I think our manager Ned does that, and our coaching staff does it. But I think coming from one of your teammates, a player, means a little bit more to the group. So hopefully he's going to have a big impact on our ball club.
I want to ask you about a guy that you mentored coming up, and life has really changed for him, Alex Gordon, who's now one of the veterans on this team. And I don't know that anybody thought way back when Alex Gordon would be the star left fielder, Gold Glover for this team, but it's finally clicked. How proud are you of him and what he's been able to do?
Very proud. I thought he was a great third baseman when I saw him playing third base. I thought he had more tools than I did over there when he first came up, because I was real erratic. I had a good glove some days, and my arm was accurate. Some days I had a bad glove, and it just didn't matter. But I thought Alex had a pretty good approach over there, and I don't know. They moved him to left field, and he's been so great in left field. It's amazing. Even down here, guys run on him all the time, and I'm saying to myself, God, don't you guys ever watch TV? I mean, this guy throws out 20 guys a year, and they're still running on him. But offensively, he's come a long way. Works as hard as anybody. in the cages before the game, and I wouldn't say I mentored him, but you know, we've always been pretty close, and I'm just very, very happy to see the success he's starting to have, and hopefully it's going to continue to go even more and more.
Well, another guy that you spent a lot of time around, you briefly mentioned him before, was Mike Moustakas, and of course you're always going to have interest in that third base position, and he's a left-handed swinging defense. So what's the progression that you've seen from him?
His defense was incredible last year. I thought he should have won a Gold Glove, and you know, he's taken baby steps to become a great player in the major leagues. I thought last year he had a solid year. I think he's going to be better. He's had a great spring this year. He had a ball go through his legs, and you know, I went and talked to him after he drove in a run. I said, okay, you're even for the day. All I try to do is be even or plus, you know, in hockey. You know, they do plus and minus. Well, he let in a run. Well, now he's knocked one in. He's even. If he can be even or plus every game, we're going to be pretty good. And he responded by getting a big base hit for us. But even in spring training, he let that air bother him because his next at-bat was probably his worst at-bat he had. And basically, I just said, hey, you got to forget about it. You know, you're an even player now. Now you can relax and go out there and add on to your numbers and be a plus player for the game. That's one thing I always try to do. And I made a lot of errors, Joel, and I let in a lot of runs. But my goal was if I let in one, if I let in two, I better knock in one or two, too. Yeah. And as a result of that, you know, it kept me thinking positive and never really getting that down on myself.
Yeah, let in two, bring in three or four.
Yeah, and then you're a plus player. You're a plus player.
And you did that.
Doesn't like it very much, but that's the way life is.
You did it more times than not. And I love the plus-minus reference from hockey. And if Gretzky's watching, I'm sure he would enjoy that, too.
Well, he was more of a plus than a minus, I think.
Yes, he was. The Hall of Famer, George Brett. Hud, you don't have anything more, do you?
What a question. George.
We have time for one more
George,
question.
I'll be short. George, oh, look at that knock. That's nice.
Oh, we got a hit, so we do have time. He said, as we see Lorenzo Cain come around, he said that he's got a short question. So with the Escobar RBI there, have at it, Hud.
George, a lot's to be said about your Hall of Fame career, offensively and defensively, but a lot of people don't realize you ran the bases like a madman. How important is that for these young Royals to attack the base runners and the bases?
That was a little bit shorter than the last one, okay? He said offensively and defensively great career, but they didn't always make as much about the base running. He said you ran the bases like a madman. How important is that for these guys?
It's very important. Pretty much important. Very important for everybody but Billy Butler. We want him to run the bases very, very aggressively. And if we do that, and learn when to try to stretch singles into doubles and doubles into triples when you got a 2 or 3 run lead, stretch a single into a double with 2 outs and nobody on, and you got a 2 or 3 run lead. Those are things that we have to do because it puts the defense on edge. As a result of that, you know, you're going to get yourself some more runs that way.
All right, that's the Hall of Famer George Brett. More coming up from Surprise.
In his 4th official outing of the spring, he went 5 innings, allowed just 1 earned run, and he was able to wrap up a pretty good player like Matt Kemp several times. Got Gonzalez on this fly ball. to center field. And he is right now with Joel Goldberg.
Biz, thanks. Getting ready to head out and finish up his workout after the game, but we'll visit with Wade Davis now, and I know a lot of Kansas City fans, their first chance to see you in a Royals uniform here on our telecast. How'd things feel tonight?
It felt pretty good early on. You know, we made some good pitches, and I just want to get our pitch count up a little bit today and get built up.
Okay, and a chance to go up against guys like Kemp and like Gonzalez. We're talking about all-star caliber players here, all-stars. How much does that help at this stage of the game?
That helps because you got to face them a couple times and work on a couple different sequences on them and work them a little bit and think about it a little bit. And it was a good day.
We've had a chance to talk to James Shields and Elliott Johnson just about the transition from Tampa Bay over to here. You guys are all used to playing for the Rays and Grapefruit League. Now you're out here in Arizona. What's the transition been like for you?
It's been good. Everybody's been great here. The front office, the staff, the players. Everybody's been awesome in the clubhouse, and it's going to be a fun year.
Now, both of those guys were talking about your personality, and we know we've had a chance to get to know you. You're a quiet guy and pretty calm and all of that, but they all say you're the silent assassin on the mound and focused and a bulldog out there. What changes when you get out there on the field?
Everything. That's your livelihood out there, and that's what you got to do out there. That's your whole game plan is to go out and help your team win. And if you're not ready for that, then you shouldn't be out there.
We're seeing Luke Hochevar transition to the bullpen. He's having success with that. Should see him here in a little bit tonight. You did that last year going to the bullpen, had a spectacular year. What did you learn in the bullpen that's helping you now?
Just stay relaxed in intense situations. You got to be relaxed and be able to go after hitters and just keep pounding.
And is it a difficult transition back? I mean, this is what you've always done, start, but 70 innings or whatever it was last year, and now Dayton Moore talking before. They'll be careful with it, but maybe up to 200 innings this year.
Yeah, we're getting into it. It's a long ways away from now, but we're getting into it and seeing where we're at, and hopefully we can reach that mark.
Okay, last two things. First off, the influence of James Shields. We've been talking to people about that. You know it as well as anyone. We were showing before the pickoff move. You guys have that same kind of crouching thing. I think Steve up in the booth kind of talked about it being like a praying mantis. How much have you learned from Shields, and what will he do for this team?
He's going to do a lot for this team. He's going to throw a lot of innings. He's going to keep guys in games, and he's going to do it every 5 days. So that's a big thing to have, and it's going to be fun to watch him too in a new uniform. And
finally, for you, one more start here at spring training, and then Philadelphia, the first game of the Philadelphia series that Friday opening week. At what point do you start thinking about the Phillies, looking at the Phillies, and locking in?
After my next start, after I throw a couple innings on the 30th, then I'll start watching some video and jogging my memory on some guys.
We'll let you go and get that run in and all the post-game routine that you guys have here in spring training. Excited for this season, and welcome again to Kansas City.
Thank you.
All right, that is Wade Davis. Nice outing for him here tonight. Let's go back upstairs to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. And Adolfo Severino is the new pitcher for Kansas City. He gave up a double to Andre Ethier, but then got Cruz on a pop-up to right. Now we're seeing Elian Herrera for the first time, and Herrera came on defensively at third base in the double switch when Don Mattingly took his pitcher Guerrier out and brought in Herrera to play third base, and of course brought in J.P. Howell to get the left-handers out, which he did, but he was unable to get Escobar out, who knocked in the Royals' 7th run. They have a 7-2 lead here in the top half of the 6th. And Herrera sends a slow roller to Moustakas. He'll throw a man out at first base, and no advance by Andre Ethier.
Well, that ball was in front of him, and Tim Wallach, very experienced big leaguer in his day and an experienced third base coach, is telling him that, hey, look, that's a read all the way. We're down a few runs here. If you don't think you can make that, don't go. You did the right thing.
But it almost looked like the Royals were giving them the run because Moustakas didn't even take a look.
Hey, watch Ethier. Ethier wasn't going on contact, so he wasn't even ready to score on that.
So we have a Chevy call to the bullpen, and this will be interesting because Aaron Crow has had a great spring. Will come on to face one man and see if he can get him out with a runner at third. Others rolling down the berm, enjoying spring training here in Surprise, Arizona. The Royals with a 7-2 lead, and Aaron Crow coming out of the bullpen. Now the ERA says 3.52, but he has really looked good lately. He picked up 1 2/3 scoreless innings last Tuesday against Colorado with 1 hit and 3 strikeouts, and he has 10 strikeouts this spring in only 7 2/3 innings.
Oh, he has that ability with an above-average fastball and that slider that drops off the table. Talking with Dave Island today, he said that he's going with Crow for the 2nd day in a row. He wants to start getting these guys out here for consecutive outings, getting them ready for the season, and being able to go 2 days in a row, sometimes 3, is important. So he's going to do the same thing with Greg Holland. Holland pitched in a minor league game today, and he's going to bring him out tomorrow and let him pitch. So he said he's going to start this last week here, bringing these guys out in back-to-back games.
Crow does have an explosive fastball. That last one was at 93 miles an hour, and it has tremendous bite down. And A.J. Ellis tried to check his swing, but he's now down in the count 1-2. How about that? That almost backed up. A lot of breaking balls from Aaron will go down and away.
Oh, that had some really nice movement. I mean, AJ was like, wow, what was that?
That's the one that breaks down and away. The count is full 3-2. Crow enters his 3rd season with the big league club. Moustakas. Good job by Aaron Crow. Gets a tough A.J. Ellis. And we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning here in Surprise. Royals by 5. Crow got that last out, and fans, you can catch more spring training action Wednesday when the Royals take on the Cubs at 8 o'clock on Fox Sports Kansas City. And before the game, tune in for the Royals season preview report at 7:30. Spring training coverage is on Fox Sports Kansas City, and that will be Ryan Lefebvre and Rex Hudler Wednesday night versus Chicago.
Do you think Ryan has the ability to muzzle me?
No. We only try and contain you. No one can control you. Well, here we go. The Dodgers will face Mike Moustakas, Salvador Perez, and Eric Hosmer. J.P. Howell spent some time, of course, with Kansas City, had tremendous success with the Tampa Bay Rays organization, and now with the Dodgers at the age of 29. He's from the San Joaquin Valley, Modesto, California, against a Valley guy, Mike Moustakas. Moose tonight has popped up, struck out, and then lined a single with the bases loaded to drive in a run in the 4th inning. Royals scored 2 runs in the first inning, 4 in the fourth, and 1 in the fifth. Well, I tell you what, he is really tough on left-handers. All 3 Royal left-handers J.P. Howell has struck out.
Yeah, he wants to discard that gum quickly. That was pretty nasty spot there. He located it beautifully.
Now Salvador Perez, his first time up with runners on. He doubled in the right center gap, almost as if he knew it was coming.
That's a breaking ball that just stayed up.
See Perez's numbers last year, and he was limited because of the injury he suffered in spring training. As much of the first 3 months of the season, late June, came back, hit 11 home runs. Perhaps one of the best games of the year. You remember Billy Butler tied it up against the Angels in the 9th inning, and Salvi followed with a shot down the line for a game-winning home run. Big, strong catcher, just 22 years old, from Venezuela.
Well, we saw spots last year in some games that were exciting, but what Royals fans want is for this team to play meaningful games in September. That's all they want. They might get more than they want, but we don't know that. They want meaningful games, and they want to see a winning product. And Dayton Morris said it's time to win. Boy,
J.P. Howell looking strong, strikes out Salvi. So he has struck out 4 batters.
He's got great stuff tonight. To make Salvi look like this, that thing really had some bite downward.
The 5 outs he's gotten, 4 have been on strikeouts. Now another left-hander in Eric Hosmer, so Howell will stay in there. The Dodgers came in with a record of 11-16. The Royals, of course, the best record in spring training this year at 21-6-1. And the Kansas City record is 22 wins in 1999. There's a good hook that catches the outside corner right at the knees. 1-1. But as we were talking about, when you do have a strong rotation, there are no long losing streaks. And last year, the Royals lost their first 10 home games. They had that 12-game losing streak. And a lot of their enthusiasm that was built up in spring training quickly went south.
They didn't have the starting pitching to stop the streak.
Exactly.
They played some pretty good teams, but they were in all those games. It wasn't like they were getting blown out. They just had a little bad karma working. And really, when you lose 12 games in a row in April, that's a long climb back up to get back up to 500. And they played at a pretty good brand of ball after that, but that's just almost too much to overcome.
And that's why they call a lot of the aces stoppers, guys who stop losing streaks, guys like Cole Hamels or Roy Halladay. James Shields was that man for the Tampa Bay Rays, along with David Price. And Hosmer walks for the second time tonight.
I like how he took that.
Max Ramirez will pinch run for him. We told you that Eric still is having a little leg issue that he suffered during the World Baseball Classic, and that's why Royals take him off the major league field and had him just hit on the minor league fields.
Hey, watch him not jump at this. This really says, you know, his eyes picked it up early enough to say, I'm going to spit on that one.
Did both Moose and Eric kind of leak out with the front side last year?
You see a guy for the first time and you see a big curve like that, yeah, you're going to jump out. That's a tendency.
Well, we'll have a pitching change here as Don Mattingly wants a right-hander to face Lorenzo Cain. And we'll see a right-hander when we come back. It's Kansas City 7, Los Angeles 2. base coach Tim Wallach. His son is the new catcher, Matt Wallach. And Tim, of course, was a great player for so many teams, the Montreal Expos. And Matt Wallach, his catcher, grew up when you were playing for the Expos.
Yeah, and like a lot of young kids of major league dads, you know, they're in the clubhouse. Young kids they're allowed in there. They hang out, and Matt was just a little guy. I mean, a little red-headed boy, you know, little freckles on his face, and there's no way I could have told you he was going to be a big leaguer. But now look at him. He's sticking with the team this long. I don't know if he'll be an extra catcher for the Dodgers this year, but he's certainly opened some eyes. He's very good behind the plate defensively, has good catch and throw skills, and he's learning signal calling.
And I could tell that he held on to some of those freckles. Kenley Jansen will be the new pitcher, and he'll likely be their closer this year. He was outstanding last year. And cutting it up the middle is Lorenzo Cain. They do get the force of Max Ramirez at second base, and that will do it for the Royals in the 6th inning. KC still leads LA by 5. Max Ramirez stays in the game, takes over for Eric Hosmer at first base after he pitch ran for Eric. And the new pitcher will be Dan Wheeler. This will be the 10th game he has pitched in this spring. Look at that. 1 walk, 12 strikeouts. Dan Wheeler was an outstanding pitcher for many years with the Astros and Tampa Bay Rays, and battling for that final spot in the bullpen with Kansas City. While we have the time, let's go to Joel.
I know, guys, it's not Twitter Tuesday. We'll get that going in season, but I'm getting some good tweets pertaining to Rex. Notice, Rex, I said good tweets.
What?
Good tweets.
That's not possible.
See how things have changed in a year. Wow. And I got to read a few of these to you. The first one comes from Austin Rains. He says, tell HUD that when he said he got to go, it made my night. Hashtag best quote ever. Hashtag he got to go. Greg Keith says, when is Rex Hudler bobblehead night? And
not every night.
Not going to happen.
Every night, yes. And the last one comes from the Twitter handle at Danny Duffy 805. That would be Danny Duffy, the Royal, who says, Uncle HUD is back. Music to my ears.
Wow, shocked the house. I don't know if that's true. Joel, quit making those up.
And Uncle HUD, that moniker came from Eric Hosmer and Mike Moustakas, who fell in love with you right away as you told story after story, or rather they had to listen to story after story.
Well, by golly, at least they're not like my kids. I had to strap my kids in a chair to watch my highlight tape. I told them it wasn't very long. But Joel, man, I appreciate that. You know, the fans and moving my family out there, you know, and becoming a part of the community and being around, it's unbelievable to feel the passion, to firsthand be there, to talk to fans, you know, at the gas station, at the grocery store, people that are really excited about the team, but they're guarded. They're saying, you know what, we've always had optimistic years here, but we've unfortunately never made it to the finish line. But I try to tell them, folks, you have every right to be optimistic this year. This is a team that they put together years ago, and it's starting to happen, but they went ahead and added the starting pitching. So really, Joel, I don't think it's false optimism.
Dan Wheeler gives up a base hit to Juan Uribe. And Joel, I've got to tell you this story because I was looking up how Surprise Arizona got the name Surprise, and it's much like the story of Rex Hudler growing up. Surprise Arizona, Joel, was founded in 1938 by Flora May Statler, who named it Surprise because she would be surprised if it amounted to anything. And it did. It became the 6th fastest growing city in the state of Arizona. And much like Rex Hudler, a lot of people didn't think you would amount to anything. And here you are, a big league broadcaster in your 14th season. And you spent 10 years in the minors and 10 in the majors. Joel, your thoughts?
Well, I think that, first off, I love the fact that Hud insists that everybody call him Hud. And the exceptions now are Uncle Hud from the young guys here on this team, like you just mentioned, started by Eric Hosmer. But I kind of like the fact that James Shields in the interview with you guys before called you Rexy.
Wow. Look, I answer to a lot of things, and a lot less flattering
You can't say all of them on the air.
No, and as a player, man, I still love the people. They would yell things from the stands at me that weren't very flattering, and I remember one fan was heckling me in Detroit, saying, you know, Hudler, you know, you're a bum, you're a blank. Every inning I came off the field, finally I stopped and I looked at the fan and I said, look, I know that I'm not a good player, but he keeps playing me. What am I supposed to do? And the fan just cracked up laughing. The rest of them around did. And, you know, the fans are beautiful. And that's what we play the game for. It's everything out here is for the people. Give it up for the people.
And, you know, Jeff Francoeur liked that a lot when he's out in the outfield. And not, you know, just having fun with the fans. We saw that all year long, or all the last couple of years, but with the Oakland fans. And I know, Hud, I want you to tell, because I love this story. But you tell a good story about being in the outfield and fans trying to position you and move you around a little bit.
Oh, it was so much fun playing with. You know, being an infielder, you don't hear a lot of the fans because your focus is so keen on pitch to pitch. You can't listen, you can't hear them. But in the outfield, all that downtime, you can hear them, the bleacher fans out there, all of them. And it's hard not to respond when they call you. So everything is body language, and they go right one, I took a step right, and they go, okay, back one. I'd take a step back, and then after I did it 4 or 5 times, there's a double play.
4-6-3, nicely done. And there's your combination you're talking about. Gets to Escobar to first base, and it normally will be Eric Hosmer, but it was the keystone combination there.
Yeah, then you know, look at this. One hopper, this is beautiful. Look at that. Show him the ball, take it out of your glove, give him a good feed, and that was nice and routine. But, you know, the fans, too, at Wrigley Field were a lot of fun. And being a Cardinal, you know, the Cub rivalry was big. And I played out there, and they would rag me the whole game about my first name being a dog's name, Rex. And so I listened to him 5th or 6th, and then finally I brought out, some fan yelled, yo, Hudler, when you ride in a car, do you hold your head out the window? Finally, I just brought out my dog scratch. I scratched my ribs with my right hand, and I shook my back leg. And I heard 2,000 people roar at the same time. They laughed. And I just had fun with the fans, man. It was really fun. And Frenchie, he gets it, too. He loves the people. But really, the difference between me and Frenchie is I played twice a week. Frenchie plays every day, and they're looking for some production out of his bat this year. I'm hoping it happens.
Hey, Hud, you got to work on the Chicago accent, or it would be the Chicago accent, because that was starting to sound like the one that you did when you were playing with Willie Randolph at Yankee Stadium.
Yo, Hudler, you're a bum. You'll never take Randolph's job. As I walked into Yankee Stadium, I'm a Yankee, and the fans were all over me.
You know, Joel, unless we change the subject, we're going to get negative tweets.
That's okay.
Yeah, we need to turn the page. But this Dan Wheeler, you notice how he gave up 2 base hits to the right side, and then he brought that ground ball double play. That's what a guy like Wheeler can bring. He's a veteran guy. I don't know if he'll make Ned's team out of the gate here, but certainly, hopefully,
they'll be able to retain him. I'm not sure. I would imagine he's out of options, but he's still got a lot of stuff left in his tank.
Well, he's a guy who has always been able to go almost every single day. I remember the seasons he had with the Houston Astros in 05 and 06. He threw 146 games with a 2.35 ERA and had some marvelous years with the Tampa Bay Rays, 4 strong seasons. Then, of course, some injuries, Boston and Cleveland the last 2 years, and trying to fight back. And one notable note, he is married to the daughter of Dwayne Statz, the Tampa Bay Rays play-by-play broadcaster. So he is a good selection as well as a fine pitcher.
Well, he's looking like he's got plenty left.
Facing Matt Kemp.
Always wiggles that glove.
Trying to get Kemp to chase it and strike him out.
So it's been 6 months, maybe a little bit longer, since Royals fans have watched their young catcher. Watch Salvador Perez in this block. Okay, go to your knees, thumbs out, keep it right on your chest protector, and you turn that ball into a marshmallow, and it just drops in front of home plate. Textbook. Runner at third base, pitchers can trust their stuff when they know they have a guy that can block the ball like that.
Ooh. What a pitch by Dan Wheeler, and Kemp could not hold up and strikes out. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning in surprise. Royals 7, Dodgers 2. Cactus League dancing here, and you're working on your dancing with your fan, but if you're a manager, you might be working in spring training on how to get thrown out of a game, and Don Mattingly came out and argued that check swing with home plate umpire Anthony Johnson, and of course every manager is going to lose that debate.
Look at the look on his face. Did you just throw me out? You didn't have to do that. And in the umpire's interpretation, it is, did he commit to swing at that pitch or not? It's not if the bat head crosses the plate.
That is the first spring training ejection for Don Mattingly as a manager. And of course, Don played with Rex Hudler when they were teammates with the New York Yankees. I don't think you remember Donnie getting tossed out of the ball game as a player.
No, and I'm going to tell you, I do remember Willie Randolph mentoring me as a second baseman, talking about the Royals and how dangerous they were. And I'm hoping that we can see some ball playing like the Royals did back in their day when they won a championship.
Frenchie, who had 2 hits and a walk before this, grounds out to short. Dee Gordon is the new shortstop. He has a Keystone mate who's new, Alfredo Amezaga. He's a veteran. Elian Herrera stays in the game at third base, and Juan Uribe is the first baseman with Matt Pollock catching. Here comes Miguel Tejada. Batting for Chris Getz. Tejada will play second base. He told Joe Goldberg that earlier tonight. And Miggy with a chopper up the middle, and that will make it one base. Miggy with a turn at first base, so he gets a base hit.
Now, one thing these Royals and all the other players that play in the Cactus League will look forward to, or they'll miss, is the hard infield here, the sun-baked infields. As they take that second bounce, that's usually through the infield. That's a base hit. Now, when the season starts, with how cool it's going to be in some of the northern cities, it's a lot softer, and those hits won't be getting through.
So the Royals open in Chicago and Philadelphia.
That's right. It'll be a whole different ball game when the bell rings.
But for Kansas City, they continue their outstanding spring hitting. That is their 13th hit tonight. They came in leading all of baseball at 332, and also in runs scored with 188 plus 7 makes it 195. That's an average of 6.5 runs per game. Alex Gordon has a couple of hits tonight. A single in the first and a single in the fourth. He's also scored a run and driven one in.
That's some pretty quick addition you just added on there. Did they teach you that at K-State?
Yes, they did. I had a BS degree at K-State. Bachelor of Science, though.
I have a BS degree.
Yes, you do. We won't go there. I told Ryan Lefevre when he asked me what it was like to work with you, and I said, Ryan, every game Rex will say something no other broadcaster will say. Well, you did it again. Gordon, now 29 years of age, a Nebraska Cornhusker. Still lives in Lincoln, does have a home in Kansas City, and he takes ball 4, so he works the walk. So Gordon on base for the third time, and here comes Irving Falou. Irving played on Team Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic. They would lose to the Dominican Republic, and Gordon will see a pinch runner for him, and it will be Roman Hernandez, number 79, a minor league outfielder.
Got to have those fresh legs, and I'll tell you, for these guys that get called up in the minor leagues in these games here, they love it. I mean, they may not ever get to the show again.
Yeah.
And this is important, and it's fun, especially televised games. Their family and friends get to see them, and it's really important.
And the Royals, of course, do have some fine minor league outfielders, but they're in the low minors. They did play in minor league games today. Guys like Jorge Bonifacio, Elio Hernandez is a tremendous talent, and of course Bubba Starling from Gardner Edgerton High School. Bubba did not play. He's been experiencing a little leg problems lately, and they just wanted to shut him down for a couple of days. Two on for Irving Falou.
And I tell you, he opened up a lot of eyes last year. Irving Falou hitting .341 in 24 games. And this guy, he's a big league utility player right now, and he's ready to go. And one of the things that chapped me when I was a utility player playing for a team and had a good season, management would always go out and get 2 or 3 more utility guys, and I kept wondering, what the heck, don't they have faith in me? Same things happened to Irvin this year. Miguel Tejada, Elliot Johnson, they bring in some other guys, and I'm sure he's saying to himself, he's a very good young man. He doesn't, pop off or say anything. He's probably saying, wow, man, I thought they might have some faith in me, but he has options left, and they'll probably send him back, but I don't know that for sure.
What is he, a 6-year minor league free agent?
I mean, you would think, but he's got so much time in the minors, I don't think he's used up his options. So last year was his first call-up, so you have 3 years of options. And
we remember his first at-bat, that triple, and he said he was standing at third base, and tried to keep from crying. He saw his family in the stands. Meantime, we've got Joel Goldberg with a couple of Royals.
Right, a couple of the outfielders, Jeff Francoeur, Alex Gordon, and we're live. Yes, well, Rex was going to finish that story up a little bit. How have things gone for you guys?
Pretty good. We're healthy and playing well, so a lot of W's out here in spring training. Hopefully it carries over to the season, but we're playing well and wrapping it up here quick, and I think we're all excited to get out of here.
All right, I got to show a little bit of video. Now, I'll just set it up that I was walking by to the clubhouse the other day, and you guys are getting your post, workout in on the running fields. And what did you say?
We'll give you a 10-second head start, and I think it was 50 yards, and see if we could catch you. We gave you about 8.
You cheated.
And we beat you about 10 yards.
Frenchie?
My form's pretty good. That's what I was looking at. Pretty impeccable. No, we were, you know what, we wanted to have some fun with you. We realized you put some winter weight on, and we were trying to help you out, Yeah,
what about the, I was going to ask you about the loser in the dress pants.
Yeah, no, you know what, you look great. I thought you showed up to camp in good shape and ready to go for the season.
Is it advisable to go out there and run against professional athletes that are 11 years younger than you and not have stretched at all?
Well, you got to forget we've been through 10 hours throughout the day, so we're pretty exhausted. So that was kind of our D running game right there, and I think you were huffing and puffing a little bit afterwards, too.
All right, first of all, are you suggesting that I didn't do anything for those 10 hours?
I'm not saying that at all.
And I was huffing and puffing for 30 minutes afterwards. I just want to make that clear. How much fun have you guys had here in this camp? Looks like a really tight-knit group.
Yeah, we're having a blast. Bunch of good guys. Obviously, a lot new faces on the pitching staff that I think for us, we've got to know, play behind, and we feel confident going into the season. And that's something. It should be a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of, optimistic, expectations here, and I think for good reason.
Now, you went on the Gordon workout plan in the offseason. Tell me about that. And diet.
Just got jacked, man. Prove it. It was one of those things. You look at these arms right here. Look at that. Cut out the cheeseburgers from McDonald's.
Can you show the arms again?
Yeah. Just start eating. Look at that. See, it's a big bump right there. Start eating pistachios at night instead of double cheeseburgers, and trying to look like this guy. Obviously, I'm not quite there yet, but I'm as close as I think I'm going to get in that time frame.
Gordo, can we see you in comparison?
I'm not going to show it. I like to hide it so people can't see.
Wow. Yeah, that's a little. I mean, I think Hudler has those.
Yeah, Rex likes to show it off. I know that for sure. He'll love that.
That was sweet.
Rex says that was sweet.
Dude, Rex, you're jacked.
Oh man, I would fit with those guys. Well, look at him. Let's see him again.
Wait, we're gonna have a replay here. Oh. Here's the instant replay. No, we're gonna see the tricep again. Here we go.
He got kicked by a mule. Look at that.
I'm going to get drug tested tomorrow, too. Thanks a lot.
Hey, the hardest working guy in the weight room is Alex Gordon. So I'll just say that. Although I will say that those off-season workouts, the Gordon plan worked because you, and because I had a good view. You guys were ahead of me. You were finishing ahead of Gordo.
No, you know what? There's, on a serious note, obviously, I asked Gordo for some advice this offseason, diet-wise, health-wise. I feel like I lost a step in the outfield last year. Obviously, I didn't have the year I wanted to do, and felt like I showed up in the camp good and getting my butt in the weight room with him in the morning and getting my work in. And it makes, it shows. It pays when you're out here running around and how you feel. And, I'm going to keep up with it all season.
Where are you as far as being ready for opening day?
We're ready, kid.
I think we've been ready for a while. I think we're kind of at that time. Well, we're getting our work in, but we know we're ready and we want to be out there. So this last week's going to go by hopefully quick, and hopefully we can get to Chicago in that cold weather.
Realizing that there are 2 outs, did you have anything you wanted to ask Rex?
Well, just why he rambled so much so we couldn't get on earlier, because we were waiting here for about 3 minutes.
And he waited until the last couple of days of spring training to show up.
Tell Frenchie when he's
got to be out here early. And
everybody's prepared except Rex.
When he becomes a broadcaster, they'll have to muzzle him too. Believe me.
That's a good point. Hud actually makes a great point. He said when you become a broadcaster, and I think there's no doubt on this one, that they'll have to muzzle you too.
They might have to muzzle me, but I'm going to be down here getting my work in spring. I guess Rex is that good that he can show up, get a couple days, and he's opening game ready.
Now, don't kill my guy Rex, because you know that he can go from like 0 to 100 in 1 minute.
That's true. Rex is ready, and that's why I'm going to give him the...
Wait, one more time?
Give him the HUD.
Having a little bit of fun. All right, we will let you guys get out here because I know that you can't go anywhere without each other. That fair?
Best friends for life.
Best friends for life, man.
There was a fist bump with that, too. Actually, Hud, what kind of fist bump would that be? The best friend for life fist bump?
We got a new hand.
You got a new hand? Can we see it?
No, we're not going to show Yeah.
Is that opening day material?
Well, hopefully we'll be seeing it opening day.
Only when good things happen, so hopefully we see it a lot.
So this wasn't good enough.
Not yet.
Next Monday.
HUD's got about 100 handshakes.
I want to see the thunder thighs. Let me see the quads.
It's just a family show. What is that a real request? Fortunately, it's not. He wanted to see the quads and the thighs.
Oh, the quads are good. I'll show you in the shower.
Thank goodness the inning is over,
We are
Joel.
getting later in Kansas City. Hey guys, back up to you.
It's time. Starter left on the field, and Salvi will continue to catch, but he'll be catching J.C. Gutierrez, the new pitcher who's battling for a final spot in the bullpen. He has struck out 5 and walked 2 this spring in 10 innings, but had a marvelous winter baseball season in Venezuela, where he saved 15 of his 16 opportunities after coming back from Tommy John surgery. Meantime, the rest of the infield has Max Ramirez at first, Miguel Tejada at second, Irving Falou at short, Elliot Johnson at third, and the outfield is Roman Hernandez, Gerard Dyson, and David Lowe. Tejada was talking with Joel earlier about playing second base and excited to be moving around this late in his career because he was one of the best shortstops in the game, offensively and defensively, for many, many seasons. And now Matt Wallach will step to the plate for the Dodgers, who trail the Royals 8-2.
Young Matt Wallach. His father, Tim, gosh, he played, I'm going to say 17 years in the majors, was a right-handed hitter and a good one. 3 Gold Gloves in his career. Now, it's not easy coming up in your father's footsteps, but Matt Wallach has spent now 6 years in the minor leagues. He's been very patient, and he refuses to go home. He says, you know what, I played first base for a long time, and then moved to the catching spot. Tim was a great third baseman.
I watched him the other day when the Royals beat the Dodgers and Matt got a base hit, and I immediately looked at him. No applauding, no nothing. His son, though, swings and misses. The throw to first base will be not in time, and Wallach is able to beat it out. It will be a strikeout, but either a wild pitch or pass ball.
I can tell you one thing. He runs a lot better than his old man. Let it go. Look at that now. They've always got to look at it. He's going.
Now he gets an applaud for the hustle. Shows off the red hair.
That's right.
Now the batter will be Alex Castellanos. And Rex, when Joel Goldberg was visiting with Alex Gordon and Jeff Francoeur, he was talking about their off-season workouts. Well, these are guys who play about every single day. What kind of program would Gordon and Francoeur have during the season?
You make your gains in the off-season. 4 months. Okay, 5 months sometimes. A lot of guys take a month or so to detox.
Castellanos with a base hit to left field.
Okay, once the season starts and you come to camp, you might be a little bit bulky, or you might have a little bit of extra weight that you carried from your workouts, and that's okay. The 162-game grind will get you into baseball shape. Now, you don't want to lose everything that you gained in the offseason, so you'll do a little bit of weight work, not a lot. After games, you might see position players like Gordon and Frenchie go in the weight room for maybe just about 15-20 minutes. Just do a few little reps just to kind of keep your tone, and do a little bit of leg stuff, but that's it. You want to save your energy for the game and the grind, but to stay fresh and to keep what you gained in the offseason, you've got to. That hurt Salvi's knee. You got to be able to stay in that weight room and do little things. It's not a lot, but just maintaining is important. And Ryan Stoneberg, he's made some big ends with this team. Last year was his first year with the team, the strength coach of the Royals, and now this year he's been able to see a full season. He's more knowledgeable about these guys and what they do, and he had them on some really good programs. So conditioning for all professional athletes is always important, but for ball players especially, unlike any other sport, it's played every single day for keeps, and so it's a different animal.
J.C. Gutierrez with a good breaking ball to D. Gordon, putting him in the hole. 0-2.
Kid's got a nice breaking ball. Fastball had some hair on it too. He's got a good fastball. Sets up that breaking ball.
He has pitched in the big leagues before with Arizona, with Houston. A high chopper. Tejada's only play will be first base, and he makes a nice play to throw out the speedy D. Gordon.
Okay, there's a little bit of range out of your 38-year-old. Or is it, how old is Tejada? 38? Man, look at this. He's coming in hard, throws across his body. Nice play. Just wants to help the team, and he also said he thinks his chances to win a ring here are pretty good.
Well, Dayton Moore said that when the Atlanta Braves were really successful, it's when they had the young players, but they went out and got some role players, some bench guys who were veterans, and they helped the young guys perform on the field. And that was the early days. Of course, Greg Maddux and John Smoltz and Tom Glavine, they had the pitching, but they had to get the offense.
Ooh. Okay, that was a nice curveball, but Salvi made the previous pitch a strike. Watch how he holds the ball here. Okay, and it holds it for the umpire. See that? And umpire said, man, he barely even moved for that. Where it might have been a little bit low, Salvi made it look good by that, the way he framed it up there.
And he blocks that ball in the dirt.
I mean, some people might think it's a meaningless spring training game, but you know, they only know one way to play. And Salvi, he looks like he might be going the whole game in this one. And he's back there doing what he does with passion.
Herrera pulls it foul, so he is down in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Helene came on and a double switch earlier tonight as Zach Greinke faced his old team, gave up 5 runs in 3+ innings. Kansas City starter was Wade Davis, and he allowed only 1 earned run in 5 innings. Backed him off with the fastball. The Royals right now, they've got 5 locks in the bullpen when you consider closer Greg Holland, setup men Kelvin Herrera, Tim Collins, Aaron Crow, and Luke Hochevar. But there's a battle for those other spots, and there is J.C. Gutierrez picking up a big strikeout, Rex, with runners on second and third. He's battling guys like Lewis Coleman, Dan Wheeler.
Yeah, there's very few spots left remaining on this Royals team, barring any injury. We hope we don't see any of that.
Oh, and Luis Mendoza, whoever loses the battle for the 5 spot, whether it's Chen or Mendoza, will go to the bullpen. So there's really only one spot in the pen left.
I hear you, but I shared with Dayton. I know Dave Island, the pitching coach, feels the same way. Championship teams don't need a long man. Maybe one. You don't need 2 long men, especially with a staff that we're supposed to see here. So it'll be interesting.
But Luis Mendoza had success in the long roll last year, and Bruce Chen has 34 wins in his 3 years with the Kansas City Royals.
Can you see Bruce Chen in that launching pad at Citibank Field up there?
Here are the candidates. Francisco Bueno has pitched pretty well with a 2.45 ERA. I like Lewis Coleman. I mean, he has really been sharp. His command last year was not as strong as he needs to have it, and only 2 walks against 8 strikeouts this spring. Donnie Joseph is going to be outstanding. The one thing you say about Donnie, he needs to work. He needs the work, and he might go down to AAA because he's not going to get the work you think at the big league level yet because of the strength of the Royals pen right now.
Yeah, I like the candidates there. They've all had good springs. That's what makes it tough on management. Good hard slider.
That Donnie Joseph, he has shown that this spring.
I haven't seen much of him.
He struck out, I think, the first 6 batters he faced in spring training. And there's a breaking ball on the hands of A.J. Ellis with 2 out and a 1-2 count. Royals leading 8-2.
It's nice to have options, man, especially options for position players and bullpen help, starting pitching. Buck Showalter used to call those to me. He'd say those are what-if players. You need what-if players. What if somebody goes down? What if somebody gets injured? Gotta have them.
Fouled straight back. And Kansas City has not had this kind of depth with their starting pitcher. There were actually 8 guys battling. Obviously, the 4 were already known: Shields, Davis, Guthrie, and Santana. But Will Smith has pitched extremely well in this spring. Ball hit towards right field, foul territory. Max Ramirez chasing it, and will not get there.
Luis Mendoza has looked good this year.
He's looked excellent, and what an offseason he's had. I asked Luis the other day, I said, was this the most memorable offseason you've ever had, where he was the MVP of the Caribbean World Series and then chosen for Team Mexico in the World Baseball Classic? And he said, yes, it was, but what he really wants to do is win that starting spot, and he's done a heck of a job for Ned Yost here in the Cactus League.
It's nice to have a lefty in the rotation.
Oh, J.C. Gutierrez with back-to-back strikeouts of Herrera and A.J. Ellis, and then spins on the mound with a little exclamation point.
Big breaking ball, do it.
Pitching coach Dave Island liked the way JC got in trouble and then out of trouble.
You get out of trouble with good stuff. He's got it.
He struck out the last two batters with runners at second and third. Now Brandon Lee comes out of the bullpen for the Los Angeles Dodgers. He was their part-time closer last year along with Kenley Jansen. Salvador Perez will probably bat just this time and then come out. Brandon Lee has always had good stuff. Mid-90s fastball. Was with the Seattle Mariners for several years in the Toronto Blue Jays before that. He's got traded to the Dodgers last year.
He's got a filthy split finger too he uses. That three-quarter sidearm delivery really can be tough on righties.
League in his 8th big league season. 9 saves with Seattle last year and 6 with the Dodgers. That may have been it.
Yeah,
split too much.
And that's a tough one to pick out of the dirt.
It looked like his sinking fastball that was boring in on Salvador Perez. Perez tonight doubled in 2 runs, also hit into a double play, and has struck out twice. He's been going after that low pitch tonight.
Yeah, and they've executed some pretty good pitches on Salvi tonight. And you don't want to face this guy either. He's not easy to try to make some contact with.
Salvador battling. We talked earlier about his energy and leadership. Ned Yost calling Perez the heart and soul of the team. And you notice that when a guy walks in the clubhouse, and if you stand back and you see Perez enter the clubhouse, his teammates smile.
Yeah, I mean, it permeates the clubhouse.
Ooh, that's a good pitch. Outside corner, right at the knees, and Perez strikes out for the 3rd time tonight.
I think Salvi didn't swing. He wanted to save his bat. You hit that thing on the outside, your bat at the end, it cracks, it shatters it. He says, I'm just going to take it to the bench.
Now Max Ramirez. Max always hits. And he has this spring as well, hitting .350 coming into this one, but he will ground out on a pitch down around the knees. So there's 2 down here in the 8th inning. James Shields, 1 week from tonight, will be making the start against the Chicago White Sox. That will be an afternoon game, and it will be James' 5th opening day. And then the rest of the rotation will be Irvin Santana going game 2, with Jeremy Guthrie going game 3, followed by Wade Davis against the Phillies in their opener. We saw Wade Davis tonight. Here's Gerard Dyson for the first time.
I wonder if Ventura has named his starting guy. It'd probably be Sale, huh?
Yes, it is. And Dyson with a base hit. That is something Jack Maloof would like to see more of from Gerard Dyson.
Yeah, no, that's really good right there. Just, you utilize your speed, hit down on the ball, try to find holes. Chop knocks are great, especially out here where the ground's hard. Put the pressure on the defense with that great running ability. Even if he fields it, it's going to be a tough play for the fielder.
Dyson came in hitting .270, 1 more hit. And now David Lowe, who has had a splendid camp, hitting .465, 20 hits in 43 at bats. And he's been so consistent, Rex, that even his outs have been like line outs or smashes on the ground to infielders.
Yeah, and when you don't start, you're getting 1 at bat a game. He's making the most of it. I mean, he didn't even flinch on that first pitch there. He just took it. You could tell he's swinging the bat with confidence. And what you do if you're a David Lowe and some of these other guys,
when the positions are already taken here, is you come to camp ready to be mid-season form so you can impress somebody. All these games are scouted by the 29 other major league teams. Show somebody something, they might make a trade for you, include you on their team. I mean, this is a big at-bat for David, every one of them. And you play like this could be your last game. That's the mentality you have.
And right now it looks like the Royals will carry 4 outfielders, with Dyson being the backup. 2 infielders, likely Elliott Johnson and Miguel Tejada, and a battle for the backup catcher spot between left-handed hitting George Kataris and right-handed hitting Brett Hayes. And there's a ground ball to first base, and Uribe will win that race. We head to the 9th inning here in Surprise, Arizona. Royals looking for their 22nd win.
Joel Goldberg back in Surprise. Might as well start telling you now about that opening series in Chicago. It'll be James Shields against lefty Chris Sale, just as Rex was talking about. Then Irvin Santana on that Wednesday against Jake Peavy. And then the finale on Thursday. All-day games. That'll be Jeremy Guthrie taking on Gavin Floyd. Then it's Davis in Philadelphia, the 5th starter yet to be named, and Shields again. We do know this much. Luke Hochevar will not be the 5th starter because he's now in the bullpen. And with more on that, here's Fizz.
Luke Hochevar has looked really strong out of that bullpen. And Rex, I talked to him the other day about that, and I said, what did you throw in your 2-inning stint where he just dominated him? And he goes, fastball, curveball, slider. That was it, because Dave Island talked with him last year where he had 5, 6 pitches and he wanted to cut it down. Well, he's being extremely aggressive, pounding the zone, and his fastball's been in the mid-90s.
Maybe Luke finds himself in the pit. Maybe he gained some confidence.
Wade Davis did.
I think personally, my opinion, that when they made that announcement, what, a week, 2 weeks ago, that took the pressure off of Hoch, and he goes, all right, I'm okay with it. And James Shields has done a lot of work with Hoch, and they've talked a lot. And so I'm sure that Luke's okay with it, and he's pitching like it right now. And he can be a really big asset to the Royals bullpen if he's used properly.
And Rex, it's interesting. Ned Yost had Luke Hochevar's locker right next to James Shields, so they talk all the time. His first pitch was 95.
You know, and look at that hammer.
And there's the curve that is outstanding. You know, there's never been a question about his stuff.
Nope. But I think it's relieved him a little bit. Doesn't feel that pressure, and good weapon out of the pen.
But he had a tough 2012 campaign that saw him post an 8-16 record with a 5.73 earned run average in 32 starts. And that was despite career highs in strikeouts with 144.
There's 97.
you know, that's your long man.
They do have power arms in their bullpen. Backhanded nicely by Elliott Johnson. The more I see Elliott Johnson, the more I like him.
Nice throw.
Yeah.
Notice how he gets on top of the ball. That throw from the left side of the diamond. If your arm angle falls down at all, the ball's gonna tail and sail away. But watch how he gets on top of this throw. He pats his glove to get his feet there, right over the top, straight as a dart. See how he pats his glove. Spending a lot of time with young ball players out there, Fizz, to teach them how to get your feet underneath you. You pat your glove. Once you catch that ball, you pat your glove and get the crow hop, get some momentum going towards your target. Right over the top.
Here's an interesting story for the Dodgers. Yasiel Puig. Rex, he has 30 hits this spring in 56 at-bats. He is 22 years old, hitting .517, but there's no room in the inn because of Ethier, Kemp, and Crawford.
I was in their locker room earlier, and I saw him walk by. And I thought that I saw Bo Jackson walking by. He's built like Bo.
Out of Cuba, defected. Signed a long-term deal with the Dodgers.
Huge, big shoulders, strong guy.
Oh. He's worn out everybody lately. Didn't miss by much. And that was 94.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. Hochevar has closing stuff.
Goes with the hook. Did he check his swing? He went. And Puig strikes out.
Well, who's going to be the next Dodger to get run? Donnie Mattingly's already been ran on a check swing by Kemp earlier. I see Mark McGuire, a new hitting coach for the Dodgers, in there. He's kind of giving some lip service to home plate umpire.
You know, being ahead in the count gives you so many options. And you've got Salvador Perez still behind the plate, and he's blocking him, and he says, go ahead, have confidence, throwing it in the dirt. Alfredo Amezaga fouls it off of the mask of Salvador Perez.
I mean,
Hochevar's going after it, thought it was a pop-up.
I mean, that hit Salvi right at the top of the head. That hurt. And as hard as Luke's throwing tonight, lots of times when hitters foul that ball, it picks up a little speed even. So that
Kyle
hurt.
Turner comes out to check him.
And by the bounce of the ball, the carom, it'll tell you that it hit him pretty solid.
Oof. Such a valuable guy.
Oof.
And I said earlier, I thought after his last at bat, he'd be coming out, and Brett Hayes would be coming in. But I think Salvador talked Ned Yost into staying in the game. This guy just loves to play.
Yeah, I'm glad he's got a mouth guard in there too. That doesn't hurt. You need all the protection you can get back there.
Hochevar has Amezaga down in the count. 0-1. And then throws him a wicked breaking ball for strike 2.
All Coach needs in his new role in the bullpen is those two pitches, really, depending on how many innings he has to pitch. That fastball at mid to upper 90s and that hammer right there, that's enough to get any big league hitter out.
Barely misses on a backdoor breaking ball.
I'll tell you, how about Amezaga? This young player stepping in there, I don't know what his chances are to make this team, but he's put together a nice career because he can do a lot of things. He can play center field. He did for the Marlins. He can play any infield position, really any outfield position. He's a very valuable utility guy. He's got good speed.
Royals fans on their feet as Kansas City trying to tie the most wins they've ever had in a spring training season. It was 22 back in 1999. Mezzica checked his swing. They appeal and ring him up. So the Royals do have their 22nd win. That ties their all-time best as Hochevar breezes through the Dodgers in the 9th inning, getting a ground out and striking out Puig and Mezzica.
Wow, Hochevar looked like he had electric stuff.